Okay, welcome to the stream. We should be live. Had to get a couple things set up and make sure that I was fully prepared to run the giveaway. So I'm, well, 7:01. I'm just a moment behind. Not too bad. I did accidentally title the stream incorrectly at first because I said, I feel like you're so far away. I said that I would be running the giveaway itself at 7 p.m. That's when I used to run the giveaways when I started my stream at 6:30. So it's actually going to be 7:30 p.m. when I actually get the giveaway going. So it will be a few minutes. I welcome you to hang out and stay here in the meantime. But if you are really, really hoping to just catch the giveaway and you've got stuff to do, I understand it's going to be at 7:30. So I just want to let you guys know that. All right, we've got Go Cav here. Awesome. Says, let's go. I hope I get lucky. Good luck. There's not too many people in the giveaway. I actually, when I pulled up the wheel picker of that I use, what's it called? It's called Wheel of Names. I actually pulled up the last giveaway that I did. And I had like 371 entries last time. That's crazy. I had so many people entering the giveaway, partially because I ran a YouTube short that kind of gave the giveaway details and let people comment under that. And I had like 7 discs that I gave away. So this time I just did like a long form video. I didn't do the YouTube short because I was hoping to kind of capture more of the core audience and more people that are likely to have watched streams before or several videos on the channel leading up to it. So I did that, and we only have about 58, 57 entries. So I guess everyone has like a 3.5% chance of winning one of the 2 discs, something like that. So better than the lottery, at least. Not as much value, but pretty close. Essentially the same. Sabin Cortana says, me too, good luck. Sarah Coward says, hi. And I'm so happy we're getting around it tomorrow. Heck yes, Silas will be out getting a quick round tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be pretty fun. Doesn't have to be too quick. Hopefully not too muddy. It has rained all day today. It's really kind of gross out. I woke up to rain and went out to get groceries. I went to church in the rain, went out to get groceries in the rain, and then I like looked outside and it was still raining. When I got dinner, I was like, what's going on? This is disgusting. What's happening? But that's part of life, I suppose. You just have to deal with it. It just feels like the last few weeks in a row have been so much precipitation in Charlotte. All the snow that we got, which is crazy for North Carolina, and then it has to rain like the next week. Yeah, gross. But it's supposed to be really nice this week, like 60s to 70, pretty much the entire week, except for today. And then, of course, tomorrow, the day that I'm really getting out on the course to get some practice in, it's going to be a little bit nasty. But it should still be really fun to get out there. Andre says, I have a chance. Heck yeah. Same luck, and what's up? Appreciate you being here and hanging out, and good luck to everybody. I mean, Brent, the famous 1 in 78, I like my odds as he won a disc from me. But I don't think that you have to worry. I don't think Brent is entered into this giveaway. So you guys are free from the fear of Brent taking over and winning the discs from you. I'm glad that I could protect you from that. I didn't tell him about the giveaway, and apparently he's not a fan of the channel enough to see my video. But all of you who commented on that video, thank you for being real, true supporters and true friends, unlike Brent. But I appreciate you guys being here. And yes, good luck to any and everybody who has entered into the giveaway. Not terrible odds, but of course you never know. Whoever wins it, good luck to them. And congrats to whoever is going to be the winners. Sarah Coward says, sorry I lagged. How does the giveaway work? So at 7:30, I will kind of spin this wheel, and I'll try to hold up my laptop. It's a little bit hard to actually see the screen. What I really need to do is run the stream through OBS, which will, it's a software that would let me display things on the screen for you guys and actually, run it professionally. But instead, what you get is less professional, but a guarantee that I'm not cheating something because I'm holding my laptop up and spinning it live in front of you. So you can really see that, there's no way for me to mess with anything. But what I'll do is I have everybody's names in the kind of random wheel of names. I will click it, let it spin. It'll land on somebody. They'll win the first disc. And I think I'll go with the Rolo for the first disc because it's new to giveaways. Then I will run it again. It will remove the name of the first person who won so that we'll have 2 unique winners. And I made sure that I didn't have any duplicates, and I went through all the comments and made sure that I grabbed everybody who left a comment on the video and got all of you entered in, and then we'll have 2 winners. The main thing is that if you win a disc, remember to go back to the giveaway video and respond to or leave another comment so that we can contact each other with a direct message, because YouTube doesn't allow for direct messages of any kind. We'll use Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Even email would work just fine, to where we can talk with each other privately so I can get your address to send the disc to. It will be free. I don't charge for shipping, and I just send it out to you, to the winner. But make sure that you respond to that comment, because the reason that the it is being given away today is that the person who won it in the last giveaway never responded. I tried over and over. I left comment after comment. I even posted about it. And the YouTube account that won the it just never said anything, no replies. So it was impossible. I didn't have an address to send it to. So I got to keep it. And now I get to send it back out to one of you guys, as long as you claim it and respond to the comment. So make sure that if you do win, you get back to that giveaway video soon so that we can connect and I can verify that, yes, you sent me that DM or that friend request or whatever it is, and then we can get the disc sent out to you. Zelda Morales, that's awesome. Appreciate you hopping on and being here. It says, hi, just got here. Dude just says, shot exactly 7 down. Some far putts, glad I made. Heck yeah. Dujit posted in our Discord. If you haven't joined our channel Discord, it's a lot of fun. We don't have tons of people in there just yet. It's still a little bit new. We don't have, a huge focus on building it necessarily, but it's a great place to show some of the discs that you got for, birthday, Christmas, or that you won, or a great round that you had. And Dujit posted earlier about hoping to go 7 down and hit his exact prediction. So that's really awesome. And that's through a 9-hole pitch and putt, so not through 18. So heck yeah. Dude says Doc's not here yet. He's the only one I expect to be here. Doc is not here yet. I don't know what he's doing to delay, but that's part of the reason I don't run the giveaway right away when I start the stream, just in case somebody's delayed for some reason. And I like to run the giveaway with the live audience watching and ready for it. And I know that Doc needs to be here. He'll feel left out. Gorgante says hi. Thanks for hopping on. Dude says, I'm formally transferring my luck to the other entrants. LOL. Dude would overpower a Rolo or an it, and is graciously stepped out and not commented on that giveaway video, hoping that you guys win it. And that actually no, Dude, you did enter it, didn't you? That's right. No, yes, you did. You entered into the giveaway. So Dude just trying to give up his luck to all of you guys so that he can win a better disc, something stable in the future. But as luck, has it, there's a huge chance that Dujit wins a disc that he doesn't want. That's just how it happens. Dujit says, yeah, a little quiet in here without Doc. Rackle says, I know, feels so lonely without him. I mean, I'm still here. What are you, lonely without Doc? Come on. I feel hurt. Sarah Coward says, got to meet Jeremy Colling's wife. She said I can play with him soon, and he will give me a disc. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be really, really fun. Tell him all about me. He won't. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know me. There will be no point. Unless you reference Am Worlds, that would be the only context that I could have possibly popped up on his radar, that I was tied for first after round 1. Other than that, there's no world in which Jeremy Colling knows of me. I did actually warm up at the putting basket with him for about 10 minutes before the Charlotte Roar, because I got there pretty early, and he was playing MP40 before I teed off with MPO. So he's seen my face. I don't know if he, actually looked at it for more than 2 seconds, but I've been in the same space as him and the same life as, the area that he is in his life. But he doesn't know who I am. Okay, let's see. Steph says, I'm gonna need you to draw me for that winner. Good luck. I hope you win, but I can't do anything to actually make you win at this point, because you're entered into the random wheel of names with everybody else. Vert Venture says, yo, I suck at frisbee golf. Do you have any tips? Yes. Tip number 1, call it disc golf. Tip number 2, don't throw a frisbee. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm sure that you are actually throwing discs. The main thing is that I had learned this, that a frisbee does not fly like a disc golf disc does. I'm sure that you're experiencing that. And the main thing that really, really helped me a lot was to make sure that my grip was better. My grip was not good for a disc golf disc because you need to give it so much spin and speed. And I didn't know really where to put my fingers. I was used to kind of like tossing a frisbee with a finger on the outside. As soon as I got a finger tucked under the rim and gripped tightly, my throws improved like crazy. There's a couple of different grips you can have, but a fan grip gets just the index finger, or maybe the index finger and pinky or something, some type of fan or modified fan grip. Then the power grip gets more of your fingers, maybe even all of them, under that rim. When you have them all on the rim, I find it's harder to get a accurate, clean shot, but you get more speed, you get more spin when you throw like this. Because as the disc leaves your hand, as you are throwing it, it leaves your hand, and instead of just kind of slowly exiting your hand, it's whipping out of your hand on this hinge created by your fingers. And that snap, that speed, that spin, that's what helps you throw a disc well. So that's the main thing. The other big thing that helps is footwork. The important thing is when you set your feet, whether you run up or stand still, you really don't want your feet in a straight line with each other and your target. So if I'm throwing straight at you, and this is my like right foot and left foot, I know my hands are tiny, I don't want a straight line where front foot and back foot are lined up with the target. I want a gap between my feet to where my back foot is kind of toward the back right of the tee pad if I'm right-handed throwing right hand backhand. And then my right foot is front left, kind of at a little staggered angle. And you kind of want to think of it like there's a straight line going to your target and your feet are on opposite sides of that line. You want to straddle that line with your feet, and you want your lead foot closer to your target. With that stance, it allows your body mechanics to be so much smoother, to create so much more power. When you're reaching back, your body's working with you to generate that throw. If your feet are in the wrong place, it's a lot harder to get your body in position. I obviously can't show you while I'm just sitting here, but try that a little bit, work with your footwork, and kind of start to see how getting the disc moving faster is easier with better footwork. Okay. Great question. I probably will have to go through the actual Q&A if anybody answers that later. For now, I can go through the live chat and kind of keep up with it, but if you have a question that you really want to make sure it gets answered and I see it and don't skip it or miss it, then put that in the Q&A. Okay, where am I? Dude says, watch the pros go out and throw. There you go. Sarah says, are you here, Doc? Mark says, I can help save you shipping if I win. That's always the dream. If I don't have to ship it out, that's even better. That has happened. I mean, Brent won, and I just handed it to him. I didn't have to ship it anywhere. That was nice. Steph says, I'd like that plastic to be mine, please. And Doc, the taco salad is the truth, by the way. GoCav says, how hard should I grip my putter? I'm having problems with that. Ooh, that's a tough one. Depends on your putting form. With me, I have kind of a push putt, and I get really the pop from pushing up my disc from below. So my grip is fairly loose, which makes it hard in kind of ripping wind. My grip is loose, though. As I come up, I kind of pop the disc up out of my hand and let it drop toward the basket from above a little bit. With a spin putt, you're probably going to have a bit more firm of a grip as you were kind of spinning it out of your hand toward the basket. That's going to be a different amount of grip. So it just kind of depends on your form. For me, I don't have a heavy, a tight grip on the disc for a push putt because I really need it to smoothly just lift out of my hand with nothing holding it back. But I do think with a spin putt, you are generating more spin, with that. So yeah, you're probably going to want more grip with that. Yeah, it just really depends. But in wind, you're going to have to grip the putter harder. So maybe the spin putt is best for that style. I don't think you want to grip it as hard as when you're throwing a tee shot, but you're going to want a firm grip on it so that you can get it kind of zipping out of your hand with that spin putt style, if that's what you use. Pizza Boy says, howdy. Thanks for hopping on, Pizza Boy. Dude just says, I usually do like 55% grip, not strangling the disc, but not fully relaxed. And I would say I'm almost more like 25 or 30 with my style of push putt because I really do want it more on the relaxed side to get it up and out of my hand easily than kind of gripping it and launching it. More about body mechanics and momentum and kind of just letting the disc out of my hand than using my fingers. You know, I pop it a little bit, but I'm not trying to grip it and chuck it. Sarah Coward says, I'll tell him to sub to you and that you're a great YouTuber. Heck yes. Now we're talking. Jeremy Colling's going to be a fan. I really need to start throwing the tempo ASAP. Dude just says, I'm loving the Luna I got. So glidey and straight and makes a great putter too. Heck yeah. Get a little hyzer behind it. Nice. Cemented your love for the Jawbreaker Flex plastic. It is good plastic. It really is. Sarah Coward says, I have a Luna. Oops, I scrolled too far. That's a putter. You have to throw hyzer. Mr. Man says, what's up, Brad? Thanks for hopping on, Mr. Man, being here. You're probably 2 years behind the chat as usual. I'm not doing too bad, but I am behind it. Dude says, where's the Q&A? Oh, is the Q&A not popping up? I started a Q&A, and it should be tagged at the top. I guess I can't necessarily see it from your perspective because I'm running the stream logged in. But that also would explain why no one has answered the Q&A. It is started though, so I'm not sure what to do about it. If you don't see it, then pretend like it doesn't exist, I suppose. Dude just says he's about 2 months behind it. Oh my gosh. You guys, there are a lot of comments. I'm trying my best. Trying my best. Okay. Sarah Coward says more like 12 months. Oh my gosh. Any experience with the Pixel, and can you share your thoughts on forehand grips? I absolutely can share my thoughts on forehand grips, and I will also upfront tell you, I'm not great at forehands. Pixel, I love the Pixel. I still have it. Okay, I think I gave one. Nope, that's not it. Where's my Pixel? Where's my Pixel? Nope, that's still not my Pixel. Don't worry, I definitely have one. So this is my Pixel, and actually have an ace with it, and it made the bag for a little while. I really like it. I had an Electron Soft. I do think I gave that one away, but I did really appreciate that Pixel as well. But the Pixel is good. It's actually quite similar to a Warden. It has kind of a micro bead where the Warden doesn't, but that's not a big deal for me. I don't prefer the bead, but it wasn't enough to interfere with my push putting style. I did quite well in a Pixel versus Envy challenge video I filmed with my buddy Blaze. He bought the Eagle McMahon Proton Envy and then the Pixel when it came out. It was just in the Electron Soft plastic at that point. And we kind of did a head-to-head. And I was very happy because I actually threw and putted with it quite well. So I, I definitely get the love for putting with the Pixel. My buddy Brent switched over to putting with the Pixel and loves them. And I watched him cash a massive putt, probably a 105-foot downhill putt on camera when we were trying to go a perfect 21 under round at Bailey doubles. And I won't spoil it, but that was huge to keep us going with a perfect round through, hole 6. I thought it was going to be over, barely when we had gotten started, and Brent saved us and gave us a real chance of hitting that 21 down. So I get it. The love for the Pixel is great. It doesn't make, for me, it doesn't turn into the putter that I use for putting, but I've just loved the Warden. I've never stopped putting with the Warden. I've liked the P2. I've liked the Pixel. Those are the main 2 putters that I found really worked for me. PA3 is solid as well, although it's definitely more, I want to say that's overstable. But do I still have that? Must have given that away. Anyway, Pixel is good. Really like it. Forehand grip, I am no expert. Let's see if I have a clear disc. I should definitely have one somewhere. Sarah Carr says I might be back later, but I'm gonna go. All right. Hopefully you win. We'll see. Dude says classic 2-finger stacked grip. Andre says hi. JCT says yo. Thanks for hopping on, JCT. Hey, Zach's here. Mindy says hi. Pokemon Discovery Channel says 2-finger stacked power grip for forehands. I'll show you, not necessarily as advice for what I think is the best or that I know what to do for forehands, but I'll show you what I kind of saw Sullivan Tipton doing. So this is a clinic that Sullivan did, and I got some of it filmed too, so I need to kind of review that. But the main thing is that I really have been turning my finger so the pad of my finger is on the rim of the disc and really like facing it. And I think this has gotten me throwing more wobbly because when I swing and throw the disc, it's just not coming out clean like that. So one of the things that I've shifted to is actually I do stack, but I kind of put the pad of my finger, my middle finger, facing upward. And for now at least, I kind of have that facing up and my other finger stacking behind it to kind of support it. I did the spread finger for a while. Sullivan told us how bad it is, so I stopped doing that. And the main thing is that when I reach back, I don't want to reach back really far. I want to kind of keep a little bit tight with my reach back because I've watched Sullivan Tipton. He has a tighter reach back, and when he engages elbow and throws, the thing goes a mile, and it's unbelievable. Like 500 plus foot forehand without a warm up, with like 2 steps and not a big reach back, just because he's so good at generating that power. But I do that kind of pad of my fingers straight up. That's been something that has helped me. I found that I'm a little more consistent and it's easier to get a little power on my forehands. I don't have a great forehand, but that's something that happened to work well for me that I picked up from Sullivan Tipton. I recommend considering it. All right, Doc says, hey peeps. Hey, dude just says he's here. Fine, Rackle says finally the real MVP has arrived. Oh my gosh. Doc, we might have talked about you not being here and you know, people were saying that it was quiet and lonely without you. Although I'm still behind the chat, so I don't know about that. Doc says clear disc. A7 Meds says hi. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. Rackle says, no, Doc, I mean you. We were just talking about how odd it is to be in the chat without you. It is a little bit strange, for sure. Steph says, Doc, you're right. Taco salad is the heat. Hey, Doc, dropping all of the emotes available for channel members. Shout out to Doc and Mom Has Minecraft, Jiki, Joseph Mulkin, the core members of the channel. There are a couple of perks with channel memberships. Doc is displaying some of those custom emotes where you have like a Team Brad and a Team Brent, and then some kind of soup and disc golf basket. They're a lot of fun, and you know they're definitely. It's kind of hard for me to kind of promote the channel membership because I understand that I don't have a lot of value in the kind of cost for becoming a member of the channel. So obviously, I have no expectations of people joining that, but I do see it as a way for people to potentially just support me a little bit. And I want some fun little perks involved in that. So those channel emotes, along with the disc you get by your name, kind of signifying how long you've been a channel member. Those are kind of just a little bit of fun. You also automatically get entered into giveaways. So a couple of little things for being a channel member. And I appreciate all of you who've become members and anybody who would like to join as a channel member and support me in that way. I would love that. That'd be awesome. But it doesn't make a difference in how much I care about you and I'm grateful for you and value you as a member of the community. You guys are awesome, whether or not you care about me. I mean, whether or not you're a channel member. I appreciate you being here, all of you. You're great. Dude says clear disc. Heck yeah. Doc says, Rackle, every other Sunday I'm working, so I get here about 7:25. Hey, you're on time. That's why I wait to do the giveaway a little bit, and not specifically for you, but for people who don't get here right away at 7 because they have work or something coming up or coming back from church or whatever it might be. So I always try to delay a little bit before I run the giveaway, but I will have to do it soon. Will have to do it soon. Dude says, what advice did Sully have for forehands? Well, grip, I guess. Grip and the reach back. The reach back was the really big thing where he was talking about if you're reaching further back, there's more for you to get out of time and get your mechanics off. But if you have a shortened reach back, it's easier to have the right timing. And I think so far it's been helpful. I think the main thing is that I got it on film and I got him throwing on film, so I can go back and rewatch that and watch his form. And it's impressive the way that he accelerates from a position not far behind him, where he gets kind of his elbow in front, and then when he gets that disc out of his hand, it's so fast compared to the kind of run up and beginning of it, and then it's like all of a sudden the disc has been like whipped out of his hand. It's crazy, but a lot of practice. A lot of practice. Alex says, yo. Anthony says, is the idea to throw flat with forehand? Yes, generally. It depends on your skill level. If you're a lower skill level, then you might want to pick an overstable disc and throw a chop forehand. It's the easy way to have a decent forehand. Sullivan Tipton throws his furthest with a flip up understable disc. And I have one of those on camera. I posted on the channel of him throwing this hyzer flip that just bombed. Like, it's just crazy. That's the hard way to do it, but it's maximum distance. So flat is generally preferred for being accurate, throwing straight shots. And then if you can throw flat, then you can throw an overstable disc to go right or a turnover disc to go left. So flat is kind of ideal in some ways for sure. And yes, you do want that in your repertoire. Okay, I need to catch up quick. Flying Potato says, did you put my name in the giveaway twice? Just once. My apologies. Yeah, I made sure that I had no duplicates. No duplicates. Old Metal Monster says, Jello. Thanks for wrapping on. Dude just says the idea is usually to throw flat no matter what. Obviously, you want to throw like hyzer, spike hyzers, or if you have a disc where you want to throw a turnover of some kind, you want to throw a hyzer flip, that can be a factor. But generally speaking, a flat shot tends to be what you want to go with most of the time. A7, missed Valentine's Day by day, but spreading the love. Appreciate you being here. Who is Sully? Sully is Sullivan Tipton. He was on target to have a chance to win Worlds this year. And then, I don't know if it was final round, he dropped back, but he was very close to the top throughout most of Worlds this year. And then USDGC, it might have been 3 years ago now, he famously aced hole 7 and then was in contention for quite a while. And he's got just 450 one angle hyzer forehands easily. It's unreal. He's on the Pro Tour. Steph says if Doc wins, it's rigged. Jack says, when are you and Doc going to play around? Maybe never if I can help it. Narc says, how do I join the giveaway? So I ran a video where you had to leave a comment on, and that ran up until yesterday. So the giveaway has been closed, and I'll run it in just a minute here. So you're going to have to make sure for future giveaways that you get aware of the giveaway video ahead of time, so you can leave a comment. I don't allow entries into the giveaway right now because I'm about to run it in just a few minutes. So make sure that you're paying attention to the channel and you see when I have a giveaway post or a video in the future. Make sure you join then. Doc says, heck yeah it is. I gave him a couple of C notes to make sure I won the disc. Flying Potato says, still not 100% sure that it isn't rigged. It'd be much harder to rig it than to have it be fair. Doc says, Jack, I couldn't do that to Brad. Dude just says, you have to have commented on a video before the stream started. Yes, that's true. Okay. Anthony says, lastly, thanks so much for always answering questions. Just got into disc golf about 6 months ago. Can drive consistently around 270. Am I on par with distance? That's a really good 6-month distance, I would say. Yeah. Yep. You're, playing less than a year, pushing 300 feet. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's really getting yourself into position on most holes. Most par 3s are less than 350, generally speaking. There's a lot that are more, but like your local course, probably mostly less than 350. So 270 gets you maybe not in range to run the putt, but close enough to get a lot of pars. So really, really good. Mom as Minecraft says, happy belated birthday to Flying Potato. Hey, shout out Flying Potato for getting older. That's a real achievement. Good work. Yeah, happy birthday. A little bit late, but happy birthday. Okay, 270 is good for your first year. Let's take a poll. Should Brad sing happy birthday? So far, I see a bunch of no's. That's a real bummer. All right. Yeah, 7:30. Yes. Doc says 270 at 6 months is nice. Also standard amount of discs that you should be owning. Okay. All right. Man, all these votes for no that I shouldn't sing. Sorry, guys. I guess the community has voted, and I just won't sing Happy Birthday. That's a real bummer. Candlelight says yes, sing for us. Candlelight with the actual birthday themed name in this circumstance, with the candlelight of the cake, of course. Yeah, I guess, man, all these votes for no. That's so strange. Man, I'm just saying no. It's kind of crazy. All right, I'm gonna run the giveaway here. So we have 57 entries into the giveaway. I made sure that there are no duplicates. Everyone who is a channel member has been automatically entered into the giveaway. Some of you guys commented anyway, which I appreciate, of course, but you guys were automatically entered. So if you are a channel member, you are entered to win. And then I had one guy, I think Andrew Peterson, not the singer, jumped in and commented but asked not to be included in the giveaway. He's the only exception to anyone who left a comment on the giveaway video as not being entered into it. We will start with the Rolo. Rolo is going to be first, and we're going to just remind you it's a 176 gram Halo Rolo, so not as super crazy understable, but still a very accessible kind of beginner disc. And for someone who's played a while, it could be a really good roller that's not going to be as out of control as, say, a DX Rolo, which I have thrown. It will be a little more manageable. So we'll get this rolling here, or spinning, as it were. Let me unplug. I need to remember to plug my laptop back in, but I don't want it wrapped around too badly here. So you probably won't be able to actually see the names, but I have everybody here that entered into the giveaway. All of you have your names here. And, that's the bottom of the screen. So all I do is I click the button. This is wheelofnames.com. If you want to test it for yourself, there's really no way to rig it. And I'll just go ahead. We are spinning for the Rolo. So whoever's YouTube username pops up here wins the Rolo. And we have the Real Squirrel 1. Awesome. The Real Squirrel 1. So shout out, Real Squirrel. You're a real one. You won the Rolo. Congratulations. Make sure, if you see this, make sure that you go back to the giveaway video and interact with the comment that you left so that I make sure I'm sending this to you. We will direct message so that I can, well, maybe I shouldn't throw. I was going to throw the disc across the room. Maybe that's a bad idea. But that way I can make sure that I send it, to you, and I get your information privately instead of publicly. All right. That is the Rolo. Now, speaking of making sure that you comment and talk to me so that I can send the disc to you, the It was given away. It was run into a giveaway video and not claimed. So the It is back up for grabs. So the It is going to go out to the person who wins here. The It is an understable fairway driver. I do believe 173 to 175 grams. And who do we have here? We have Tim Johnson. Tim Johnson, 7735. Congrats to Real Squirrel and Tim Johnson. Tim Johnson, you have won the It. Congratulations. It's a great disc, and it looks super cool. So congrats to you guys, the winners. Duja didn't win, so this must be rigged. It's a real bummer. But I appreciate all of you entering into the giveaway. I will be running more giveaways, hopefully pretty soon. I think at least by Easter, I'll have another giveaway up and running. So hopefully soon you have another chance to win. But if you didn't win today, sorry. Hopefully next time. Congratulations once more to both of the winners. You guys are great. Okay. Dude just says I'm going to be mad if I win. All right. Wow, I am backing up really far. A bunch of no, don't sing. Okay, here we go. Anthony Stapleton, I don't know about discount discs. Yep, I'm sure Doc is singing their praises. Doc says it's infinite discs, but you can't pick your exact disc. You save some decent money on it. Rackle says, sing the song of your people, Ancient One. The song of my people. I don't know what the song of my people is. Maybe One Thing Remains by Christian Stanfield. That's probably the song of my people. It's a youth pastor joke. Candlelight, His eyesight is getting worse in his old age. Oh my gosh. I saw that. I saw that you said that. Rackle says true potato, but that's why it's even more important to do so. Sing the song of angry men. Okay. That's a angry men, that's a Les Mis reference, I believe. I'm gonna feel really stupid if it's not a Les Mis reference. I'm very sure that that's a Les Mis reference, right? Yes, it's a Les Mis. Okay. At least I picked up on that one. I don't know that many musicals, but Wicked and Les Mis, I should recognize references to them. Maybe Newsies, possibly. He must be the voice of the people who will not be slaves again. Oh my gosh. Gosh. Okay. They also have Whatnot. Yes, they do. Rackle says, you ain't so bad yourself, Doc. Clearly you're a well-educated individual. Do not egg him on. This is not good. Dude says, Anthony, do not go down the Whatnot path. It has put Doc into debt. We need to be very careful about that. Doc, Sabin, Cortana, Edward say congrats to the squirrel. I love that. Flying Potato says, can you send me a picture of my name on that wheel? I want to know for sure. Yes, I will do that just for you. I will make sure that happens. Doc says, Hush, Doojet, the only way to lift the curse of Whatnot is to send another down the path. Great. Thanks. No one wanted it. So sad for the it. Yes, it was funny and sad because it definitely was an odd thing where I was like, man, this is one of the two, I think, featured discs of that giveaway. And the guy who won it just never responded, never claimed it. Kind of insane, kind of unhinged. I feel like I don't trust those type of people. So you guys better actually respond and take these discs from me. I'm trying to give them away. Don't want them. Doc says, oh, dude, maybe Brad will send you a dragon. Oh my gosh, I don't have a dragon to send. All I have is my poor rock that, goodness gracious, the thing that shouldn't exist. It's awful dragon. That's the only one I have. I wouldn't send that to anybody except as a prank. Dude just says, phew, saving my luck for the next one. Heck yeah. Hopefully you win. Dude just says, it's fine, Doc. I didn't want it to begin with. Doc says, we should get together and make a disc golf musical. Oh, no. No, we should not. No, we should not. Toodle says, congrats on the engagement. Thank you very much. We're very excited. A lot of wedding planning happening, and it's a great time. So we're very, very happy, and we appreciate all of the congratulations. Dozens and dozens of you guys saying congrats, that you're happy for us. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Edward says, see you at Beaver sometimes once it warms up again. Be nice to get out there. And I hear more rain. Oh, tomorrow is going to be a soggy round. Scrapyard is going to be muddy. Probably a lot of slippery clay, especially in hole 9. And I'm playing all longs. Meh. Hopefully it's good practice, though. Flying Potato says, I'm counting on you, Brad. Dujit says, all the snow is pretty well melted. Just got to find a tournament soon. Heck yeah. I have a tournament next weekend, so hopefully, well, it's at Scrapyard. My home course, hopefully it goes well. It should be, well, it might rain again next Sunday. It's still far for the weather accurate forecast to be super accurate, but it is calling for rain next Sunday. That would suck. I would not like that. That'd be 4 Sundays in a row with crap weather. Don't like that. Mama's Minecraft just downloaded Whatnot. No, stay away. Stay away. Be free. Don't risk it. It's not worth it. Oh, man. People taking advice from Doc. What is this world coming to? Dude just says, wasn't going to tank my rating in the snow. Yeah. Yeah, it can be really nasty and brutal. And yeah, that's not for me either. It's tough to go out in a rainy round, too, because I know I could tank my rating. I could play really well and, outshoot the field and everything, but it's when it's nasty like that, I feel like I'm going to play bad. I feel like I usually do. Doc says, I did get a Penguin Books box off Whatnot for ordering so much. What is the Penguins book box? Is it like for putting books in? Is it like like has a top on it, or is it kind of like bookends? Like what does the book box look like? Like what kind of design is it, other than penguins? It's your boy Trev says, yo, just stopping to say hi. Keep up the content. Watch them all, my guy. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And appreciate the support. It's really, really awesome and helpful. Doc says, Brad, if you need me to plan the wedding, I'm here. I would like you to stay there and not come any closer. We're good. Appreciate it, Doc. Minioan says, hi, Rackle. I recognize that last name. Yes, we have a couple of people who know each other in the chat. It's your boy Trev says, and yes, congratulations. Thank you. Docs has been doing some AI songs I think I could make enough to DJ with. Maybe I need you to move farther away. Maybe I need you to move to a different state. How about Montana? It's beautiful out there. Docs is a cardboard box that Penguins Books sent books to the store in. Okay, so it's kind of just the box that they shipped it in is a Penguin design box. Like it's kind of a, like, is it a unique box to like keep? That sounds pretty cool that they gave you a little reward for ordering so much, and also an indication that you're going further and further into debt. Does anybody see the Q&A? I don't know how it works, but I set up a Q&A, and I guess it just doesn't show up. I don't know if that's the case, but I can't find it. There are no responses to the Q&A asking me questions, but I don't know how it works. Doc says no, it came from Penguin Books, the company. Okay, I'm lost. You said you did get a Penguin Books box off Whatnot for ordering so much. So what you're saying is because you ordered so many that they threw the box in with it, right? Or you're literally just saying that it just comes in a Penguin box every time? I don't understand what you're trying to say. I'm so lost. Doc says, I sent a question. Okay, let's see it. Oh, there we go. We got one. So I guess some of you can see the Q&A. Doc, I don't know where you, like, where does that appear? Like, do you have to kind of navigate to it, or is it like hovering over the chat? I don't know how it works because I can't see it from your guys' point of view. But I guess I'm trying to test out the feature and see how it works. But Doc asks, what did you get Miss Brad for Valentine's Day? So my fiance, I got her 2 half-pound Reese's Peanut Butter Hearts. She does like Reese's. And then I also got her a 2-sided Pride and Prejudice puzzle that we did while we watched the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice. And yes, it was enjoyable, it was funny, and it was a great time. Then we made dinner, including some heart-shaped lava cake, dark chocolate lava cake with some vanilla ice cream, which was almost to die for. It was extremely good, and we had a great time. I did not help with the lava cake. I made the meal, and Katie made the lava cake. It was a fantastic day. Definitely best day of the year so far. Doc says next week, Pride and Prejudice with zombies. Oh gosh. No, I've yes, no. Doc says, oh, he said her name. I said it last week actually. Somebody asked me what her name was, and I said that it was Katie. So Doc, not paying attention, didn't hear that last week. Shame. All right. Mr. Man says, Doc knows about AI. What a revelation. Doc says, no, I wish. I love Penguin Books Company. I still don't get that. Old Metal Monster, missed the giveaway. Real Squirrel 1 and Tim Johnson. I don't know, 5541, something like that. 7735. Look at that. I was completely wrong on all the numbers. Won the 2 discs in the giveaway. So shout out to them. Congrats to them. And anybody who didn't win, I hope you win next time. Doc says, on computer, it's right under the live chat. Okay. Mr. Man says, you got 500 books from Whatnot, Doc? Doc says, let's not talk about it. Digit says, all right, found a 2-rounder about an hour away at what looks like a pretty shreddable course on the 28th. Heck yeah. Hopefully the weather is not terrible on the 28th. Hopefully. Yeah, the weather and everything is just such a bummer, for sure. It's definitely a bummer, but that's really cool. And a 2-rounder is kind of nice. You can make a day of it, especially if it's an hour away. It can be annoying to drive an hour, play for 2 hours and drive an hour back. It's kind of like that's kind of annoying. But a 2-rounder, you get more golf out of it, so that's nice. Candlelight says Doc getting clocked at every opportunity. The world is as it should be. Now I have inner peace. Much better. Doc says kill it, Dujit. And when I say under live chat, not the chat, but where it says live chat, your XP. So at the top, I guess. At least for what I see, because I'm on a computer as well. The kind of whole chat is off to the side and it's up at the top. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but at least Doc figured it out and left a question. So at least it works to some extent. I'm not sure if we need to do it. I do fall behind on the comments on the stream, that's for sure. But I eventually catch up, usually, most of the time. It does tend to happen, I should say. Mr. Man says, at least you got to stack the discs back on the shelf. Brad, the background looked weird last time I was here. Yes, and actually I have plenty not stacked on the shelf as well. But yes, I had them all bagged up for throwing across the ice at Scrapyard and ended up doing some throwing across the ice, but I actually didn't end up really doing a whole lot. I didn't end up with time to kind of sit and film. So I replaced a lot of them. I may snag some this week and do some extra ace running. We'll see. If it's nasty out, then I don't want to, throw a bunch of discs, get them all muddy, have to clean all of them off just to throw again. We'll see what happens. But yes, it was nice to kind of fill out the shelves again. And I'm sure there's a few gaps. Like I didn't replace all of the discs, but for the most part, it's much better. It's much better. Doc says, agreed, Mr. Man, but we saw the side shelf, like the one over here. I don't understand. Did I show it? Maybe I showed it. I probably turned the camera a little bit. Dude just says most of the par 4s are like 390 to 410, some 560-foot par 5s. Wow. 560-foot par 5. That's, maybe it's really buried in the woods, but that seems pretty doable. Yeah, especially if you throw pretty far like you do. Dude just says, speaking of disc shelf, random disc of the stream time. Awesome. We'll do random disc. I usually don't go too far up here, so we'll go a few in on the flippy ones over here. And we've got ourselves a Crank SS. My buddy Chris in Florida traded, I don't even know what he took from me, maybe Zeus or something like that. He wanted something more stable, and he gave me the Crank SS, which is a 13.5 -3.2. And for a minute, this could bomb for me, throwing in some big turnovers, but it started to cut roll. I got a couple of good rollers out of it, but as a 13 speed, it just didn't really stick the landing in the bag long term. So it was a great disc. I love having it available on the shelf, and I'm sure that I could throw some hyzer flip massive bombs with it if I took it back out on the course. Maybe I'll have to do that one day, but I do love having this Crank SS that I traded with my friend Chris. I really don't remember what I gave him. I just don't recall, but I know it was less flippy, like it was more stable. It's been a while. I don't recall. Man, it's just raining. It's going to be so nasty tomorrow. Anthony says, I live near Kansas City. Do you ever come near there, or have you played Bad Rock Creek in Liberty, Missouri? MO is Missouri, right? So I was in Missouri for AM Worlds, so I played in Columbia and Jefferson City. Water. At the Miller, the Dam course, and Harmony Bends. Whew. I think that's better. I haven't really been too much out to the Kansas City area. I tend to be very north-south. So I grew up in Michigan, but didn't really play disc golf growing up almost at all. I played frisbee. Moved to Florida 4 years ago and played in Florida for 3 years. Loved it year-round. Northside Park in Gainesville, home of Garrett Gurthey. Great area for disc golf. And then moved up to Charlotte a year ago, Charlotte, North Carolina, which is the centralized disc golf mecca of the United States for good reason. It's fantastic. It's amazing here. And I've been here for just over a year now. But Kansas City, no, I haven't been too far deviated from kind of Michigan, Florida, North Carolina. I played a little in Georgia, and then I made it all the way out to Missouri for Am World, and then immediately, like I went out to Am Worlds early, practiced the Am Worlds courses, wrapped up Am Worlds, and played a quick round with my brother at a local course, and then booked it home like the next day. So I really didn't stick around or explore. I was like hyper focused on Am Worlds competing, and I think it paid off. I ended up taking 15th place out of 283. So I was very, very happy to do that, and Am Worlds was pretty amazing. I definitely didn't spend extra time. I was like, compete, go home exhausted, pretty much. Doc says maybe it's a real old course. Older ones usually have easier pars. That's true. Mr. Mann says, I wish I knew enough about disc golf due to throwing way too many numbers. Usually a par 3 is under 400 feet. Usually a par 4 pushes up toward 800 feet, and then a par 5 kind of pushes up to 1,000 feet. That's very general, but that's kind of a good category of kind of thinking about how far a hole should be. Your local park courses, if you're in the woods, it's going to be totally different. But that's kind of a general, like, wide open sense of distance. And 400 feet is very far. It's kind of a line that separates really good players from average to good amateurs, is if you can throw over 400 feet consistently. That's when you start stepping into potentially the level of playing on the Pro Tour. I tend to throw just under 400 feet very consistently, and I can throw over 400. So I don't have that, taking that step to the Pro Tour level. I'm not there. And then, of course, just because you can throw far doesn't mean you're Pro Tour material necessarily. You have to have consistency, accuracy, good approach game, good strategy, good putting. All of the things have to work together. But for a lot of people, the biggest barrier is throwing far enough. And then consistency. Those are kind of general things. So for a par 5 to be, let's see, what did you just say? 560 feet, that's usually a par 4 distance, because throwing 2 shots of about 300 can get you there for, getting there in 3, making your putt. So if you can get there in 3 on a par 5, it's seen as pretty easy. Now, there might be mandatories that make it difficult. You have to go around, or maybe it's just packed in the woods and you're only getting 200 feet off of every throw. So it would make more sense to be a par 5 in that case. It's hard to say because I don't know anything about the course. But generally speaking, yeah, that's a short par 5. Okay. Dude just says, I think it's somewhat recent. It's a pretty new park, but I've never actually played it. Yeah, Doc is right. Older courses can tend to have easier, softer pars for the distance, but newer courses can have that too. New courses can be made to be very easy. Or maybe they're, like I said, heavily wooded and the distances are kind of accommodating that for the trees, adding difficulty of getting actual distance off the tee. Don't think it's too wooded, just a few ponds here and there. Okay, yeah, so maybe it is. Maybe a lot of OB, I don't know. Maybe it's just really easy. Dude just says, wait till you hear about PDGA ratings and flight numbers. Doc says, no one understands PDGA ratings. I mean, I feel like I get it. I couldn't do the actual calculation of the ratings specifically, but I think I get it. You can understand it without completely fully understanding exactly why and how they end up exactly what they do. Dude just says, makes me feel like a mathematician with the numbers I throw out. Only devoted players do. I guess if you're not competitive, you don't really need to. Yeah, that's also true. Doc says, if you say so, you broke the code. Anthony Stapleton says, did you move to NC just for disc golf? Not just for disc golf. It's kind of a combination of things, but ending up specifically in Charlotte was kind of a little bit of disc golf there. My brother's also here, so it was pretty convenient to move to the Charlotte area. But yes, disc golf was a pretty big deciding factor in that, a pretty big draw to Charlotte specifically. So I wouldn't say that was the original reason or anything like that, but it influenced exactly where I ended up. Yes. Mr. Man says, I get it, Doc. It's why his name is Birdie, because he can't do an ace to save his life. Sure. Yeah. I definitely don't have any aces on the channel. Definitely don't. Koopa Troopa says, how do I get discs? Well, if you're referring to the giveaway, I ran the giveaway already, and you had to have responded to the giveaway video I posted last week to be in the giveaway. But I will run another one in the future, so pay attention to live stream titles that mention upcoming giveaways and look for videos on my channel. If you're just actually asking that in general, any kind of sports equipment place, Play It Again Sports, will have a lot of used discs for very reasonable prices. InfiniteDiscs.com. Shout out Infinite for sponsoring me heading into this year. Very excited about that. Is a great place to purchase as well. And they have so many options. It's the first place that I go, even before they sponsored me. Infinite was the first place I checked to see if something was going to be in stock and what the discs actually look like, and if I'm actually interested in them, kind of what the general price is. And even if I looked to buy the disc somewhere else, I always started with Infinite and very often ended up buying from them because their prices are pretty good. Wow, they should pay me for that one. But that was all true. And I would recommend Infinite Discs if you're looking for it, or if you're looking for a starter pack, I guess it's just a starter pack, a beginner pack. Then I recommend some from Amazon. The MVP R2 starter pack is very good. Okay. Doc says, discount discs or whatnot. Dude says, take this with a grain of salt, but I'm going to try to get to Junior Worlds 2027. So I still have a year of MJ18 after that. Okay, heck yeah. I think you can do it for sure. I mean, Junior Worlds, I think you can get to Junior Worlds in terms of qualifying and talent, like, for sure. I mean, I'm sure you could do it this year too. I don't know if that's your just your goal is to kind of target 2027, or if that's what your parents are good with you heading to, or what. But that is a worthy goal, and I think you'll do quite well in 2027, 100%. Dude says, cheap disc website. Doc loves it. Yes, he does. Mr. Man says, Doc will probably get a timeout when he gets to my comment. Oh, gosh. I don't know. We'll see. Still mad at Doc because he deserves mod and he knows it. That I will always have beef with you, Doc. Poor Doc. He just doesn't want to be mod of another channel. He has too many mods. He's the mod of, mod of 5 or 4? Koopa says, how do I get drawn? You have to enter into the giveaway early. The entry is already over, and I already actually ran the giveaway, so we already have winners for both of the discs. Discount Discs is a website that sells cheap discs. If an Innova guy, try Factory Second Store. Yes, that's good. Discraft is the best disc company. Don't let anyone tell you different, says Dujit. I like Discraft. There's a reason they're number 1 in terms of sales. I really like Discmania. I like Streamline discs, especially the Cosmic Neutron plastic. I like Latitude 64 quite a bit. So those are kind of my manufacturers that I kind of lean in their direction a little. But I bag a Prodigy. I guess I don't have Innova in the bag at the moment, but I bag Discraft, Mint Discs, Clash. I mean, I'll take whatever flies well. Whatever flies well, and I don't have to purchase. I like it. Dude says 2020 or 27 Junior Worlds is in Peoria. Pretty close. Heck yeah. Dude says, I've been converted by their plastic. They have good plastic. It's true. Doc says, while you're winning juniors, make sure on your social media you hashtag them, and make sure you say hashtag Team Birdie all the time as well. So, heck, by that point, maybe I'll sponsor you 2027. That'd be pretty sweet. No matter what, it'll be well documented. Heck yeah. Doc says, I'm cooking beef for some Mexican rice. Mr. Man, how about I give you some of that and we make amends? I'm guessing that Mr. Man will say no to that. Dude says, I want 2027 obviously to have more experience. I also want to get a sponsorship before I play. Not to mention parents would be more lenient of me traveling there at 17. Yes, that's totally fair. Especially, yeah, traveling there, by yourself or just traveling there in general. But yeah, by yourself would be, at 16. That'd be a lot. Doc says, let's see, PDGA Tour Life Side Out podcast. I think just 3 now. That's cool. You're not a mod for the Ghost podcast? I swear you were. Hasn't Clash pretty much shut down? I've heard that it's shutting down or has pulled back from manufacturing. I don't know. I haven't verified any of those rumors, but I keep hearing it. So I assume something's happening. I don't know if they got purchased. I have no idea. Really, really have no clue. But it's possible. It's possible. John Kelly says, when is your In the Bag coming out? So I have a video that I'm like a third of the way through editing, and it's a lefty versus righties doubles teams, and I really want to get it done. It's been gosh, I think I filmed it mid-November. Saying that out loud is kind of hard to hear, but that's okay. Life is good, and I've been busy for good reason. So that's going to come soon, and then the In the Bag will follow that. So In the Bag probably, geez, it's already the 15th. I will make no promises, but it will happen. I will promise you that In the Bag 2026 will happen in 2026. That's your personal guarantee. Hopefully soon. I would love to have it out by very early March at the latest. I'd love to have it out sooner, but I can't make that promise, and I do have to get a lot of footage to be able to really put the video together well and do a good job. And I prefer to do a good job with my videos. Live streams, however, anything goes. Doc says, dude, it seems like people really aren't sure. Dude said had a berry once, wasn't the biggest fan. Jay says, lost my Valkyrie today in the snow. Hopefully whoever finds it calls me. I hope so too. I lost my Berg X. I say lost. I left my Berg X at Reedy, and I am pretty sure I wrote my name and number on it, but I am not 100% certain. And yeah, that'll be a bummer if I don't get that back. I got it with my Disc Golf Pro Tour gift card for being in their commercial, which hopefully starts airing soon because the Pro Tour is going to start covering events soon when the tour officially fully begins. Is the first one in Charlotte? What's the first? Let's see, tour schedule. I don't think it's the first one. Oh, the doubles championship is the first one, so that's not even really the. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. February 27th, Supreme Flight Open, of course, Florida. Yeah, it's going to be at Olympus, so that's the first one. So yeah, 12 days. Hopefully, in 12 days, I am sure that I will not be front and center featured in that commercial, but my face will be in it, and I'm really hoping for more than just a second or two. That I will be very recognizably kind of in that commercial. I'm very excited for that. That's going to be really cool. I'm happy, glad that that's going to be happening, and that should start. They should start airing it for the Supreme Flight Open, and they should air it throughout the year, which is really cool. I'm really excited for that. Mr. Man says, Doc, I'm on 3 channels with 200K plus subs. It's not that hard of a job, but when you have 30,000 people in the chat, you'll understand it's a problem. Tour Life has 200,000 subs as well. I don't know about the other two. But there's also a thing where, yes, with a lot, it can be a lot with a lot of people in the chat, but sometimes smaller channels, you only have 1 or 2 mods. So they can get absolutely swamped and overwhelmed when you have an influx of spam all at the same time. And the first few live streams, I only had like 2 or 3 mods, and they were working constantly. They were on the chat all the time. Now that I'm pushing up to 7,000 to 8,000 subs, I almost have none. I have almost no spam whatsoever. I don't know if that's because YouTube refuses to send new viewers my direction and only allows me to have my audience viewing my stuff. I have no idea. But it just kind of depends, because you can have a ton of spam on a tiny channel that you're constantly having to monitor. And like, I've been in the live chat for big streams, and yes, if you have Twitch, it's impossible. But on YouTube, a lot of times it doesn't tend to be wildly out of control because you have like 50 mods in every stream. Just depends. It really just depends. Doc says, after dealing with PDGA during the Natalie drama, I'm good. Yeah, there are certain circumstances that are accelerated in terms of difficulty as well. Dude says, I think it came from one of the major European retailers saying that Clash has slowed operations a ton. Yeah, that's the only really confirmed thing I heard, was that they're slowing their production. That's pretty much it. After that, it's all kind of been speculation, and of course, you can assume that there are some consequences to that of them at least cutting back, but for what purpose? I don't know. Going out of business, selling the business, getting acquired, merging. I have no clue. I don't know. Maybe they just got tired of their plastic. Doc says, so are we buying Brad wild honeys instead of a bachelor party? Yes, I would like that very much. Thank you. John says, I'm going to get a wild honey as well before they are gone. Yes, snag it. Doc says, anyway, Duja isn't 18 yet. Maybe we'll give Brad 1 year after bachelor party. I don't know what you're saying, because a bachelor party for me is not inclined toward the necessity of being an adult. There's going to be like video games and maybe like airsoft or something would be like, I've had my buddies and I have enjoyed like paintball, clay pigeon shooting, video games. Like, we have very tame and very enjoyable bachelor parties. There will not be anything out of control in any way. It's going to be a nice, fun, quality time with people that I care about. It will look as opposite as the Hangover as humanly possible. The only correlation is that we all look about as good as Bradley Cooper. Other than that, maybe it's Zach Galifianakis that we all look like. Maybe that's more like it. Let's see. I'm a little behind. Dude just says their double study plastic looked really cool, although I think it has some durability problems. Bummer if so. John Kelly says April 4th is first one for my season. Trying to do at least 100 putts a day until then. Can't throw yet. Snow's still deep. The snow is disgusting. Yeah, gross. April 4th. I am fortunate. I played the first A tier of the year was the Charlotte Roar Open, January 2nd through the 4th. I didn't do well, but I was playing right away. And it's really nice to not, although we had snow at the end of January, it's nice not to have to constantly deal with that. I moved away from Michigan for a reason. Mr. Man says, didn't realize that Dujit's not 18. Should have been watching my language. Maybe that's true. Doc, that probably goes for you too. You're a loose cannon and you know it. Less in terms of language, more in terms of insanity. Dude just says, yes, 16, but end up having to watch my own language sometimes, so no worries there. Family-friendly chat all the time. Doesn't even matter if we were all 90. I would still want a family-friendly chat. Doc says, loose cannon, how dare you? What am I? One of the cannons Hamilton stole from the British? Gosh, why do I read certain things out loud? It's a waste of my time. Was going to have it at a banned bookstore, just banned books. Thank you. Gotta be 18. At least that you're going somewhere with that, but I have no interest in a banned bookstore. No thanks. Just a bookstore would be totally fine with me. I would appreciate that. Doc says one of those cannons all the way at the top of the fortress, if that makes you feel any better. Dude says Ezra sucks at airsoft, those who know. I haven't seen that, but I did see Ezra throwing. I actually don't know who was trying to catch it, but they were like snowboarding down the mountain in the snow, and they were throwing frisbees or discs at each other trying to catch them, and whoever went for it just like barely got off the ground and full somersaulted down the hill. Oh, it was so funny. I don't know if you saw that on Instagram or wherever it was posted. So good, so good. Doc says really books that were banned are awesome and important. Some of them are. Some of them were banned because of politics. Some of them were banned because they were considered scandalous at the time and they had no real value to them anyway. They were just pushing the boundaries, and today they're not even considered that scandalous. Although I find some of those absolutely worthless in every possible way. And then some books were arbitrarily banned for almost no reason and have no real importance to them whatsoever. I would say the main banned books that have value and importance to them were political critiques that have merit to them, that were criticizing particularly communist perspectives of some sorts, and were banned federally or by the government because they didn't like being criticized. I would say those are the most important banned books. A lot of other banned books are very overblown because they're very like locally banned or religiously banned because of their content, which is not the same thing as being banned by the government of a country, which doesn't allow, like, it's illegal to have that book. But the Pope banning a book is different because that's like, okay, the people who adhere to this religion and have opted in to some of that leadership are saying no to that book voluntarily, as opposed to it being legal to own it, which is very, very different type of banning. And there's a huge range of why books get banned and whether or not there's any type of semblance of reason to the ban. And some of them you can look back at the cultural time period and you can say, oh yeah, I'm not surprised that that was banned because that's vile. Like Lolita was banned for a reason. It should probably stay that way. Disgusting. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. The list of banned books is like, ooh, these were banned books. And like I look through the list and I'm like, okay, A Brave New World, interesting critiques of future reprehensible behavior, also disgusting. Don't read it. It's disgusting and gross. I think 1984 was banned, much less vile and gross and disgusting and much more interesting in its critique. I don't remember if Animal Farm was banned or not. But yeah, some banned books are worth more than others, put it that way. Yeah, even as I just look it up, all of these are like banned in a local elementary school because it's inappropriate for children. I'm like, okay, that doesn't deserve to be on the same list as 1984 because it wasn't banned in the same way. Age restricting a book is not banning it. That's saying that this is not appropriate for this developmental level in our school systems. That's a very, very different thing. The Kite Runner, banned for a completely different reason. Yeah. I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird, banned for a completely different reason as well, because it challenged social norms in, well, even morals, I would say, more than social norms, and culturally accepted reprehensible behavior in treatment of African Americans. And the reason for that ban is poorly and negatively motivated because people don't like being challenged in that way. And it's a really great book that today is considered exceedingly tame. Like, this is kind of like a general duh. I'm not saying it's not an impactful book, but there aren't really like cultural values put forth in the book that today we're like, whoa, like, no way, I should think like that. It's like, well, yeah, like, it's very much acceptable to our culture today. So a historically banned book, is a very different thing as well than a currently banned book. I don't know if they have banned bookstores that are actually full of banned books. I don't know that there'd be enough books. There's just not that many books that have truly been banned. All right, checking in our Q&A. We don't have any more questions, which is totally fine because it's a separate tab and I don't know how I would be able to open it up. Let's see. Mr. Man says, Doc, you said Hamilton and he got a headache. Dude says, yeah, I saw the video of Ezra doing that. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Doc says, I have to drop a lot of musical jokes. We're trying to make Dude a fan of them. Dude says, resisting as much as I can. I think you're fine. You're good. Doc says, never said banned books were government banned. I'm just talking about the wide range of quote unquote banning, because there's legitimately banned and then, oh, my book got banned because I can't read it to a first grader. And it's like, okay, that's a different thing. Like, that's a very different thing. Mr. Man says, I'm with Doc on this one, Dude. Dude says, isn't that literally what makes them ban book stock? Leap says the books in Germany were banned because they were vile. I don't know specific reference, but I'm sure that Germany banned a lot of books that were not vile. John Kelly says, banned discs, Innova Dragon. Fahrenheit 9, or Fahrenheit 911? I thought it was Fahrenheit 451. Yeah, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Yes, where books are banned and firemen burn them. Yeah. No, To Kill a Mockingbird shouldn't be banned. Well, it isn't. It was. It's not currently banned. Fahrenheit 451 should be banned. Yeah, they're not currently banned. They were. There are time periods and locations in history in which they were banned, but they're not now. Like, they're not banned currently. Dude says, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Lolita not banned as widely anymore, even though the subject matter isn't the most morally correct? It should be more banned than it is. It's vile. It is very disgusting. Very, very disgusting. Doc says, John, not funny about the end of a dragon as a banned disc. Yeah, you're probably right, Duja. It's probably more acceptable than it should be by far. It's certainly not a school thing. Mr. Mann says, challenging social norms is not the problem. Some of the books the Germans burnt were from the museums that had a lot of world history. Now it's all lost, which is, of course, that's extremely unfortunate and sad that that happened. Yeah, there are certain situations where simply challenging a social norm was enough to get a book banned. Usually there's a deeper, like I say reason, not saying a good reason or a defensible one, but like reasoning behind it of like it feels like it's threatening the state or it's content that's so far outside of a religious perspective that the religious leaders are saying no, 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 this is awful, no one should be reading it. And of course, if in that time you have a sort of religious state where the state religion is in control politically to a certain extent, then they can have a hand in making something illegal. That's also a different level of banning. But of course, again, like we're talking about a wide range of types of banning. Are we talking about federally banned to where it's illegal to own a copy in the United States, or are we saying school libraries can't have this book on the shelf because it's not for children? Very, very different. Reading Fahrenheit 451 next quarter in English. Heck yeah. Leap says it's a good book but dry. I haven't actually read Fahrenheit 451. I was the book guy for my quiz team in high school, so I did a lot of Spark Notes and then memorizing books and authors. So a lot of of Mice and Men, John Steinbeck. Like I know that, but I know very little actually about the book. I know more about like Catch-22, Kurt Vonnegut, and what it means to actually be in a Catch-22 situation. So I spark noted and kind of got some general knowledge about a lot of books. I have a really wide, inch deep, mile wide type knowledge of a lot of books because I know the title, the author, roughly when it was written and usually what country it was written in, and then a brief synopsis of the story of the book, but I didn't read it. So I don't actually have a depth of understanding of a ton of those books. But I did read 1984 for one. I read To Kill a Mockingbird for school. We read a lot of Shakespeare. We read Lord of the Flies. So there are certain books that I fully read completely. And then a lot of the kind of quote unquote classic literature, I did read. Even if it was abridged version, I read quite a few of the classics, especially in fifth and sixth grade. I read a lot of those growing up. It just kind of depends. Of Mice and Men is good, says Leap. Doc says, I just hate seeing schools ban books like Hello God, Are You There? It's Me, Margaret. Okay, I'll look it up. I don't want to really comment on a lot of these because I don't have a depth of knowledge and why it got banned. It says that it's supposedly geared towards ages 5 to 8, but people say that the violence in the book can disturb 8 to 13-year-old children. I mean, just based on that, I'm not saying that I'm agreeing with the ban, but you have to think about to what extent. Is this only banned in elementary schools only, but it's on the middle school shelves? I don't know. I don't know any of that. I'm not commenting directly on this book specifically, but you should always look into the details and see exactly what's going on and why and to what extent it's actually happening. Because again, there's a very big difference between saying wow, this is not for children, but any adult or even any teenager is free to access this book at public libraries. It's on the shelf. You can go find it. You can read it. That's totally up to you. but we're not endorsing it in the school systems. Like, that's a very different thing than, the term being applied, in the same breath as, oh, To Kill a Mockingbird and this book were banned. It's like, well, they're banned completely different ways and to a different extent. I don't know any more about this one, so I am not making that claim specifically about this, but it's at least implied that there were questions about its appropriateness for children with some violent content. And I mean, isn't that fair? Would you say that a PG-13 movie is like, banning movies for like 9-year-olds? Because you have to have a parent with you if you're below 13 to watch in a theater. Like, you can't go unaccompanied as a 9-year-old into a PG-13 movie. So that's not the same thing as like banning a movie. To have a content rating or to have an age restriction on something isn't the same as banning it. It's a very different thing. And again, I'm not saying specifically for that book. I haven't read it. I haven't read up on it. I've only glanced at a couple of article titles. So I know nothing about it specifically. But, potentially it's in that type of context where it's like a PG-13 movie. You have, violence and sexual content that's not appropriate for 8-year-olds to see. And it's something that you are not just broadly permitting any child to have access to in, the public schools. Generally speaking, I'm fine with that. Now, I might not agree with case-by-case basis, but as a standard, I think that is appropriate. I think that absolutely is a good way of going about things. Because if that kid really deserves to and wants to get their hand on a book that's, banned, that's not in their public school library, they can go to the public library, and library cards cost like $1 to get. Sometimes they're free, and they can get the book. They have access to it, most likely in their life. So it's not as if it's the same type of ban. Mr. Man says, I blame Doc for the book talk. You can blame me too, because I love books as well. Doc and I are not always reading books that are similar to each other. We tend to have some different tastes, some overlap for sure, but we both have enjoyed a lot of reading in our lives, and Doc is kind of jumping back into reading. So you can blame both of us for that. Doc brings it up and I run with it. We're a good team like that. Okay. Cody says, you have any road runners? Oh, I did. I lost my road runner. That was really great in the bag for a long time. It vanished into the Florida undergrowth. So sad. Leap says, Steinbeck is good. Loved the Grapes of Wrath. Doc says, Old Yellow ending though, Leap. Brad is a Lord of the Flies TV show out now. Is that a question or a statement? I don't know if that's a question or a statement. Leap says, yes, but it was for Lenny's own good. Mr. Man says, Doc, I hope they have them on digital copy. Dude says, like I've said before, more of a music guide than books. Leap says, Fruit from a Poisonous Tree is a good book. I haven't heard of that one in particular. Dude says, that does not include musicals, Doc. All right, I'll let you guys talk to each other. Cody says, is this a book chat or a disc golf channel? It's a disc golf channel, but we don't only talk about disc golf here. We're allowed to talk about whatever we feel like chatting. And we definitely have a lot of overlap with books. I'm a Christian, and it's a big part of my life. I was a youth pastor, have a degree in youth ministry and biblical studies. So we talk about faith quite a bit and some questions about the Bible. And sometimes we just talk about soup. So we have a wide range of topics, but on average, our discussion is more disc golf focused. And questions about discs are always welcome. We're never going to think, hey, we're talking about books right now, not disc golf. But we do go off and talk about whatever we feel like. I mean, we're just hanging out in a live stream. If we want to talk about some books, sure thing. We'll talk about some books. But don't feel like you have to only join in on the book talking and not talk about disc golf at all. Okay. Catching up a little. Dude just says the longer it goes on, less disc golf. If discussed. Yeah, well, we do lean in a certain direction for a while. Rackle says it's a chill and yap channel with occasionally asking about plates in the background. Okay, Doc says mostly soup. He beat me to it. Let's see. Dude just says, anyone here heard of Starflyer 59? I've not heard of that. Maybe I'm too old. No, I tend to have my music taste, and I hear a lot of like recommended music in similar genres. I have not heard of Starflyer 59. Mama's Minecraft says books in school libraries should be curated to complement the curriculum. It's not banned, it's curated content due to limited space. And I would go a step further and say appropriate to developmental stage as well. So I'm very much in agreement with that. Curating according to curriculum and developmental stage is very appropriate, and that's a very, very different thing. Even if you're saying, no, not that book, that's still not the same thing as, banning a book. It's saying, we're not adapting that for the public use of education in our school system. Like, that's just, I think that's a very sensible thing to do and say, is to say, whoa, that's not appropriate. So no, we're leaving that one out. Mr. Man says, my mom's still alive, Doc. Apparently she didn't appreciate your comment. Oh, gosh. Oh, Doc says, Mr. Man, I blame your mom. Oh, I didn't even see that. Well, I'm sure she'll probably get over it. Doc says, Cody, come for the discs, stay for the soup. Nice. Mama's Minecraft says, personally, I believe leisure reading like Judy Blume can be borrowed from the community library based on parental discretion. I would be in agreement with that for sure. Cody says the old bait and switch. I don't know what bait and switch you're talking about. Are you saying that because I'm a Christian, it's a bait and switch that I pretend to be a disc golf channel, but really I'm like trying to sneak in Jesus? I would say Jesus is the focus of my life, and that everything I do is born out because of and in my faith, and the way that I treat you with respect, even if I feel like a comment is somehow a target to me. I shouldn't assume, of course, that is maybe the intention behind your comment. But for instance, if I feel like somebody's coming at me and trying to dismiss me or accuse me of something or insult me, my response is to allow it. I will stand up and say what I believe to be true, but my attitude is formed out of my faith and my perspective in the world. So I would not say that there is a bait and switch when I'm being honest about my life. And with the live stream, people tend to ask me personal questions about myself. The comments section is not purely disc golf. If somebody asked me only disc golf questions, all the time, and I never answered their disc golf questions, I just talked about the Bible, like that would be a bait and switch. But when somebody asks me, how do you stay calm when everything's going wrong in a tournament? Then I think I have full license to say, my name is Bradley Hendrick. And as a Christian, the thing that really holds me together emotionally and helps me stay calm is that I have a higher purpose to my life and a higher hope than winning or losing this specific disc golf tournament. I want to win it. It's important to me. I've put in the time, the effort to practice. I want to be as good as I can. But I think I'm fully within my rights as a human to say, this is my life. These are my thoughts. These are my beliefs. So I don't think that the channel has to be like 100% disc golf or anything like that. It's primarily disc golf. And all of my content is, I would say 97% plus is disc golf. So if you come for disc golf, you're getting disc golf. That's not a bait and switch. But if I'm particularly in the live comments, honest about my life, I don't see that as something that's inappropriate. Dude just says they started making music in 96, I think, so definitely not new. Yeah, 1 year younger than me. Also not the most well-known, I guess. Cody says, exactly, you know what you're doing, buddy. I still don't understand exactly what you're getting at, but I assume that you don't like that I'm talking about my faith and that I should only talk about disc golf. Again, I think that as my YouTube channel, I have the freedom to do what I want with it. But I'm here in the live stream talking about who I am, in addition to as a disc golfer, that includes my faith. So I think it's entirely appropriate to share honestly about my life. And you are welcome to criticize that or share about your life in the comments as well. And I'll read your comment and I'll take you seriously and I'll interact with it. We're free to do that. So I don't think that there's some type of bait and switch going on. Dude says the tournament is an XC tier. I think the only difference maker is that it's a charity event. I'm trying to remember the exact difference between the C tier and the XC tier. I think it has to do with how they're allowed to do the payouts. I think that's the main difference. A lot of them tend to be charity events, but I don't think that an XC tier is only charity events. I think charity events tend to be XC tiers because they fall in the category, but I think the XC tier aligns with the charity because of how they handle the payouts so they can raise money. It's more like the ability for it to be a fundraiser tournament or a charity tournament falls under the category of being an XC tier. Oh, there's a few things. So non-standard payouts. This is AI, so take it with your 2 grains of salt, Doc. So non-standard payouts, that's the one that I was thinking of, is one aspect of XC tier. Or it could be a charity, but I think that also aligns with how the payout happens. Rules, exceptions. XC events may feature non-standard rules like unique islands. That's a good point because certain islands you have to have a waiver for it. Otherwise, you are not allowed to have an island penalize without a connecting. Like you could have like a narrow path of inbounds, but it can't be a true island without a waiver. So to get around that, you could have it be an XC tier and kind of avoid, like you still have to follow the standard rules, but there's a handful that you can kind of avoid having because it's an XC tier. You can get some exceptions to that. They can be rated if they fall under certain guidelines, but I think they're allowed to tweak the payouts, but still have it be a rated event. So there's a few things that allows it to be an there's a few variations that are allowable under the category of XC tier, including charity events. But depending on how it's done, it could still be rated. Cody says, let me guess you live in Utah? No, I'm not a Mormon. I'm a Christian. Very different. And no, not everyone who believes in God is from Utah. No, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up in Michigan, lived in Florida for 3 years. But no, I'm not in Utah. I like some of Brandon Sanderson's books, but that's about the closest I am to being associated with Mormonism. And I don't ride a bike everywhere. Dude says, I hope it's still rated. I mean, I would say fair chance that it's rated because a lot of C tiers tend to be, or XC tiers tend to be because of the payout structure and can still be rated for that purpose. But every once in a while, it's not, and that can always be a bummer. Jiki says, I won right. No, we had Real Squirrel won the Rolo, and then Tim, let's see, what's his name? Tim Johnson won the It. So for the giveaway, the winner of the Rolo is Real Squirrel, and the winner of the It is Tim Johnson. So congrats to you guys. As long as you respond to the comments on the giveaway video, I'll get these sent out to you. We'll DM so that I can get your address and get the disc sent to you at no cost. Jiki says, did my name come up when someone said Roadrunner? No, I actually talked about the Roadrunner I lost 3.5 years ago, and not the Roadrunner that you lost last year. Only Mr. Florida Underbrush. Dude says, I heard Macbeth talk about how he handles pressure on Jay Miller's newest video. Interesting. Yeah, Macbeth, obviously a much better judge of how to handle pressure at a high level of competition than I am as the GOAT. Obviously Gannon now is, becoming the newest GOAT in disc golf, but of course Macbeth for so long was and really still carries the mantle of GOAT, even though Gannon is better than him right now, has yet to usurp Paul Macbeth's complete dominance and totally overshadow his legacy. I mean, Paul Macbeth is always going to be talked about in disc golf history, but Gannon, of course, ridiculously good. I think this is for you, G-Key. Mr. Man says, what was going through your head when you decided to bounce that disc off the frozen lake? G-Key says, birdie time disc golf could never do anything wrong. Hope it makes it. Dude just says, he said if you're nervous, then that just means you care about what you're doing and you should put all of your focus into what you're doing. Not much of a process, but that's what he said. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I've heard, I don't know if this is true, I've heard that the same, how do I phrase it? It's the same thing happening in your body with excitement and nervousness. They're like the same thing. So if you can kind of recognize your nervousness as excitement and kind of channel it, kind of funnel it into anticipation of doing something, because you want to do it, like you want to do it well, you want to do it successfully, and you might be nervous about doing it successfully, but if you can kind of see it as being excited about the chance to do it well, like that can kind of help reframe your mind. I've never found that to truly be something I've tried or that's impacted me, but I've heard that. Let's see. Dude just says don't really care about payouts as long as you get the rated round. That's what works for a lot of XC tiers for non-pro divisions, is that there's essentially no difference. It's still a rated round. It's just a different structure for payouts for the pros. So a lot of amateurs are like, oh, great, no problem. But some pros are like, that's not for me. I'm not going to get any money from that. Can happen. Doc says, can't do payouts anyway. Can you, Duja, if you want to be AM? Exactly. Jiki says, is this rage bait? It's all rage bait, apparently. Dude says, yeah, I read the description. There's no AM payout, just a player's pack. So I guess that's that. There you go. So yeah, if you still get the player's pack, there's not a difference that affects the amateur division. Maybe just the pros have a different payout. Dude says, just going to play MA2. Can't accept money anyways. Yep. Doc says, Dude, you don't follow any dynamic discs, do you? Dude says, nope, never been a fan of their molds. Macbeth drives a Ferrari. Didn't know he had money like that. Yeah, I mean, $1 million a year for 10 years plus all of what he gets, probably the cut of disc sales is probably more than what he gets for his contract. That's just kind of like the foundation baseline for him. He sells so much plastic. The amount of like claw discs, not like, 5 claw, but like 2 or 3 claw discs that are just sitting around and lost in this world. It's kind of unbelievable. Just kind of mind-blowingly unreal. Just insane. Doc says, is the Macbeth a joke? I don't know what that means. He's rolling in money. Well, no, I think it's a fair question though, because disc golf money isn't the same. Like being rich in disc golf terms is, getting a couple of $1 million over the course of a few years. That's a lot of money. But at a pro athlete standard, of course, it's nothing. Like that's pennies. Like that's not even what the bench players, they get more than that. So yeah, like it's a fair thing to be like, he has a lot of things, like he's paying for, moving across the country, all this travel. So yeah, to see the Ferrari is, you do have to kind of think about it a little bit. It's not like, instantaneous, like he's so rich that he's crazy rich. It's disc golf rich. Mr. Man says Doc is probably less than 2 people in the chat get that get the Macbeth reference. I don't remember in Macbeth that there's any money involved. I think it was just a murder. I don't remember any money being involved. I missed a Q&A. Not a question, but the Jolton says the Aerobi Epic should be banned. I think that comes from the band chatting from earlier. Doc says if he sold out from Foundation, probably made a good chunk of change. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that, that's paid off very well for him too. Quite an investment in Foundation. Dude just says, I guess I just underestimated him. There is too an element of like, if you've come into disc golf in the last 4 years, you saw a little bit of Macbeth, but not even the ultimate like top of Macbeth in his career. You kind of saw maybe even like a half step down from that not at the end, because he's still playing and still winning. But we haven't seen the ultimate, Macbeth. And then he kind of phased out in the last 2 years for the most part. But yeah, up till like 2021, just the McBeast, has a different feeling. He's on your mind more. You understand as he keeps winning and winning and winning and winning. You're like, oh yeah, like he's making bank. But for a lot of us who have only been really involved in disc golf in 4 years or so or less, yeah, it's a lot harder to kind of see that because we haven't seen Macbeth front and center so much. I still don't get if there's a Macbeth reference in that. I mean, I get that as Shakespeare, but I don't remember any money from that. I don't understand. Doc says Nick Carl talking about driving Paul's car just to back it up. Need more water. Goodness. Nick Carl talking about driving Paul's car just to back it up and how scared he was because it was expensive. Yeah, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. One thing that helps me when I drive my car is I'm not worried about scratching it. I'm worried about wrecking it. Like I don't want to total my car, for sure. But a scratch means nothing to me. Doesn't matter. I don't want to hit somebody else's car and scratch it. But otherwise, I don't mind if somebody bumps my car door or scratches some paint off. It doesn't matter to me. There's enough paint already off my car. Dude says I take disc golf rich over rich any day of the week. Heck yeah. I mean, disc golf rich is enough money in my book. That's plenty. That is plenty. Imagine over the years what Paul made from private training. I imagine there were some big names that paid him a lot. That's probably true. I didn't really think about that. Doc says, dang, for once Brad is right. Sorry, dude. I honestly thought you were joking about Paul not having money like that. Yeah, I think it's hard. It just depends on, how much you've been involved in the scene. Because I've looked back a little more into disc golf's, quote unquote history, if you would say it that way. And I've watched like 2021 Worlds, like 2015 Paul Macbeth, and seen where he started and when he started getting his money, and then he got it over every year after year after year. Where it's like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it that he's making bank, but I can also see why if you've really just focused on the last 3 years, you don't actually see Paul as like the top earner. You're looking at maybe Ricky Wysocki and now Gannon, and but actually like Paul, Brody Smith, and Simon, whatever their contracts may be, sell plastic like crazy. So if they have a contract and they're selling plastic and they're taking a win here and there, like they're making bank kind of like crazy. Even though, like Gannon might be winning everything and making less because he doesn't sell as much or outwin, the contract and disc sales of the other guys yet. He will, but maybe, not up until now so much so. But yeah, dude says I knew he was probably loaded, just not daily drive a Ferrari rich. Yeah. Doc says, thing blows my mind, dude. He could have played pro ball, but instead of being a maybe middle of the road ball player, became the top disc golfer. Like I didn't even know that. Dude says same, like baseball. Didn't know that. Learning all types of new things today. Alex says, who won? Who won the giveaway? So Real Squirrel won the Rolo, and then I think it's Tim Johnson that won the It. Confirm that real quick. Yeah, the real squirrel. The Real Squirrel is a 1 instead of the L. Won the Rolo, and then Tim Johnson won the It. So shout out to the two of them, the winners, and to anybody who didn't. I'm sorry that you didn't take home one of the discs, or you won't be taking home one of the discs. But yeah, I hope that you guys come back for the next giveaway. Cody says something tells me you got picked on a lot as a kid. A little bit. I actually was a little bit of a bully. It's very unfortunate. I really didn't kind of grow up and embrace my faith until I was about 15. So I was actually very arrogant, very prideful, and kind of a rude kid. I remember I had some very good friends that I cared about and kind of was very kind to, but I remember picking on kids, especially in middle school. And I look back now, and of course, I'm ashamed of how I was behaving. But I was a child. I was ignorant and selfish and rude and condescending. I was very much a know-it-all, and it really wasn't until a time at camp at 15 that I decided to truly embrace my faith and live in obedience to God. And since then, it's completely transformed my life. I am by no means perfect in any way, but the inherent value that I see in other human beings, even people who don't like me or insult me, you're important. You're valuable, and I care about you. I hope that you do have a good and a successful life. Ultimately, I hope that you put your faith in Christ and that you believe in God. That's my perspective. But at the very least, we can be in agreement that I hope that you do well and that you have the success that you're looking for, because I want what's best and good for you. So that's not a natural attitude that comes from my heart. That doesn't come from me, Bradley Hendrick, the person. Um, I definitely had some people that picked on me a little bit. I wouldn't say that I was bullied, but I wasn't exactly a cute middle schooler. I had braces, glasses, the whole 9 yards. I was pretty nerdy. I mean, I was on the quiz team my junior and senior year. We wore our sweater vests on TV. Like it wasn't like a hidden thing that I was very interested in kind of the more nerdy academic pursuits and reading. But I was also on the soccer team, and we had a very small school. So there was not a whole lot of separation between the nerds and the jocks. There was a little bit of an overlap. We really didn't have the categories so much. 32 people in my graduating class. But no, I wouldn't say that I was really popular, but popularity wasn't something that I truly cared to actively pursue. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Sure, I got picked on some. Unfortunately, I picked on people more than I wish that I had. But I can't go back and undo that. And I was also 13, not to say that it makes it right or anything, but certainly there's a different impetus on a 13-year-old versus a 30-year-old to be in control of their behavior and be responsible and kind. So yeah. Doc says when I got into disc golf, it was Macbeth Wysocki times. Heck yeah. So that's about a 9-year period, pretty much. Mr. Mann says, Doc, I have a few days off work next week. I'm looking to get more books. Give me something good to read. Don't let me down. Ooh, heck yeah. That's pretty good. Some recommendations. Dude just says, got a real hater with Cody, apparently. Stayed around after a 10-minute timeout. Ouch. I guess so. I guess that it seems like I'm bait and switching because, I'm a Christian. I don't hide my faith. But, I mean, if you're here for disc golf, you're getting disc golf. I'm not pretending like I'm a disc golfer, but only, talking about Jesus. Obviously, my faith is front and center in my life, but this is a disc golf channel, and that's, primarily what we talk about. I think he happened to join at a moment where we were talking about banning books, and I shared something about my faith, and he thought that that's all that this channel is, and that there's no disc golf, that it's just a lie. Whatever. I mean, guess I have the perspective that you have, but I don't think that that's accurate. That's not the truth. The truth is that yes, it's the foundation of my life, but I'm here to have a disc golf stream and answer personal questions with you guys. And so if we go in the direction of books, then I'm generally leaning towards books, and I have the freedom to bring up my faith. But for the most part, we're going to be asking and answering questions about disc golf, which is why we've been talking about Macbeth for the last 15 minutes, because he's a professional disc golfer. Levi says, can you do one more giveaway for us who joined late, please? Nothing today. The way that I run a giveaway is that I put out a disc giveaway video on my channel leading up to the stream where I do the giveaway live. So you actually had to enter the giveaway by yesterday. So it wasn't like getting to the stream on time. You have to leave a comment on that video. So what that means is in the future, I'll drop a disc giveaway video, and probably I'll mention it in a live stream, disc giveaway coming soon, something like that. And you'll just have to make sure that you leave a comment on that video to be entered into the giveaway. But the good thing with that is your attendance in the live stream is not required. You can win the disc in the live stream. I think both Real Squirrel and Tim Johnson were not in the stream when they won, but they'll still get these discs as long as at some point in the next month or so, they respond to my comment on YouTube and I can get a DM going to send it to their address. So you don't have to attend the stream to win a disc, but you do have to leave that comment beforehand because I need to make my list of people who are entered into the giveaway before I start the stream, really. So that's just how it works. And I hope that by the time I do another giveaway, which hopefully is in the next month before Easter, you'll be able to get entered into that one. So keep your eyes peeled and hopefully you can get in and have a chance to win. Doc says, Mr. Man, Discworld. Now, remind me, Doc, is Discworld... Oh, and you answered it. Because I was going to say, I know it's like the universe. It's like the overarching set of books. I didn't remember if one of the books was also called Discworld. But yeah, you're saying Discworld is like 40 books. So that's Terry Pratchett. Joe Abercrombie's books are amazing. Characters Will Blow You Away. I know those are, both a little bit older. Not that that makes them bad or anything, but they've been around a little bit longer. Did Terry Pratchett pass away? I think he did die a few years ago. Doc says, one of those series where when you finish, you're so angry you won't get to see them again. You really, really enjoy those. Nate says, wait, this is awesome. All glory to him. Thank you. Absolutely. And to whatever extent I have success in this world, I'm grateful to and owe it to God because it's not me. It's not natural Brad. No way. Dice Heiser says, how is it Sunday already? Again, seems like we were just here. Yeah, I mean, it was a full week ago, but that's a fast week, I guess. I don't know if it was Valentine's Day or what, but quick week, and we're back on a Sunday. Let's see. I think I'm pretty much back to a regular streaming schedule. I know December was dicey and January too, but I believe that I really have a good rhythm of being back on the stream Sunday nights for the most part. I'm sure something will come up at some point, but I should pretty much be here every week with maybe one or two exceptions, pretty much up until June. So you guys should see me very, very regularly. Oh, I love that. Reading ahead on the comments, of course. Levi says, man, I love so much that I can see it in how you live your life. Jesus is the way. Amen. Thank you. I really appreciate that encouragement. I hope that's what is seen, and I hope that it doesn't come across in any type of attack or dismissal of other people who don't share my perspective. I'm sure it will. I'm sure that it comes across as judgmental in some ways, but truly, like I have love and hope for everyone or as many people as possible, to come to Christ, because that's where I have found my absolute purpose in my life and been set free from being so consumed by my self-focus, which was such a waste of time, by the way, because to care for other people, take care of yourself in terms of health, but care for other people and their joy and happiness is a greater reward than simply caring for just yourself. Mr. Man says, not it, Doc. I'm not looking to read 40 books. I'll probably be dead by then. All right, maybe Doc has more recommendations. Dice says, we're very nerdy. Optimist. That's probably fair. That's probably a fair criticism. Doc says, Mr. Man, try the first Law series. If you don't like it, go with Brad's picks. I guess if I'm recommending for Mr. Man, I mean, I always recommend Aragon, The Inheritance Cycle. It is 4 books originally. If you like sci-fi, I recommend Orson Scott Card, but not Ender's Game. Other Orson Scott Card books are very good. Several series, but I think more limited of like 4 books, not like 40. To Doc's credit, though, the Discworld books, there are a lot of just individual books where you can just read one or two, like Mort and a few others. I know it's just like a book. So it's not like a 40-book series where you have to read all of them in order. You really can just pick a handful of books, and they might have a couple of characters but that are shared throughout them. But I think a lot of times they're just random. not random, but disconnected stories where you can just have one or two books. I've read a couple of Discworld books, and I didn't feel like I was left out of the overarching story and world because they were standalones. Um, I don't know. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom are both very good books. So those are good. I recommend those. They were highly recommended to me, and I highly recommend them in turn. Dude just says, you're looking at the middle school academic team MVP right here. Never really been picked on, though, luckily. That's good. You might be a little bit too tall to get picked on, dude, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like, today there's probably some in school where kind of like this idea of being nerdy is bad, but there's a sense to where nerdy really isn't a bad thing, that people have kind of begun to understand and embrace, that a level of nerdiness is extraordinarily common, and like people get really into something, and it's like being nerdy. Some people are really into academics, some people really love Marvel movies in the universe or Star Wars, and I like to make fun of Star Wars and call it nerdy because a lot of people who love Star Wars don't think that they're nerdy. um, but it's just like it's a different type of nerdy where you're just really into something, you're really interested. That's great. Like, power to you for being passionate about something and caring enough to be interested and like it and learn about it. Like, all of that's great. Of course, academically leaning, not everybody leans in that direction, and you can stand out a little bit, but it also helps you be more successful in life. Doc says, Mr. Man, how do you feel about paranormal and steampunk? Soulless series is pretty good. There you go. The Cake is a Lie, not the disc golf. The Cake is a Lie. Now, is that originally a Portal reference, or is that from the book series, the Soulless series? Question. Mr. Man says, Law series, who's the author? Dice says, great book series. Name of the Wind, The Blade Itself. Those are like high fantasy, gritty in the case of The Blade Itself. I haven't heard those. Name of the Wind, The Blade Itself. Ugh, it's not going to let me copy it. Ah. Dang, it's not going to let me copy the comment. I don't want to type it. I'm bad at typing. It takes me forever. Fine, I'll look it up. All right, I'll go back later and look at those. Dice says, first Law series, maybe Joe Abercrombie. Oh, sorry, I'm not Doc. Stefan Morgan says, do you think AB winning his first major is going to calm his nerves in future majors and give him a better chance at grabbing another this season? I think that for AB, I think it is gradual growth and continual exposure to the level of play that he is settling into. So I feel like for him, I don't know if this is true. This is just my presumption of his kind of personality and character. I feel like for him, it's not so much like getting that first win, getting that first major where he's like, now I'm good, necessarily, as a slow over time comfortability of handling the pressure. And as he takes that next step up and is like, okay, now I am making my circle one putts down the stretch. Okay, now I am, making that clutch upshot happen no matter what. Then he steps into winning and continuing to win. So I think for him, it's just a slow, like steady, like upwards trajectory and progression. And then some, falling off where we don't see him for a few tournaments because, he's not top 3. I think he's top 10, maybe top 15 last year. I'm not sure where he landed, but, I think he's way up there, but he's not like always top 5. Sometimes we just don't see him because he's a little bit further down the leaderboard. But overall, I think he has stepped further up into it, and he's handled the lead card pressure better as time progresses. So I think an element of getting his, first major is that he's ready. He was ready for it. He's ready for it, and he's ready to keep doing it. More so than like breaking through and kind of like suddenly catapulting up. That's my perception. I don't know if that's true or not. That's my perception. Judas says, what are some upcoming possible discs you're thinking about giving away? Great question. So I have myself this Big Z crank here. And I believe, let's see, I think I grabbed this from AM Doubles, the Sun King disc that I snagged from them. I have myself, Doc will love this. I don't know if this is going to fit in my packaging to mail out, but I'll try to get this one sent out. But I got myself this buzzsaw to give away. I snagged these a while ago and advertised them, and then never, gave them away. But I've got a Halo Star Rolo, another Halo Rolo, and then a Halo Star Mamba that are both very cool that I'll be giving away. I've got this Zambia stamped Shrike here, and then this one's not a Shrike. This one's a leopard. Both of them from the Zambia stamp from the Eagles Wings Conference. And then, gosh, a long time ago, I got this Stig. I believe this was from Blaze. I think Blaze gave this to me. And I almost feel bad for not giving it away yet. But yeah, I think I'll give the Stig away. Although this, of all the giveaway discs, is probably the disc I want to keep the most. So don't be surprised if this vanishes from the giveaway pile at a certain point in time, all of a sudden, and never to come back. But the stack of discs I have over here, you can barely really see them on screen, but these are kind of my future giveaway discs. I've just gotten, like, I'll get the Rolo or the It, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and I'll put it on top, and then I'll give it away next. So I kind of have this backlog of discs that I haven't gotten to for giving away that are just kind of hanging out over here. Oh, 9 already. We are talking books and disc golf and Jesus and all sorts of things tonight, especially with the giveaway. We're rolling. Okay. Great question. Dice says, name of the Wind series, so good. Beautiful prose, slow burn, best world building in a long time. Unfortunately, the author will likely die before finishing the last book. That's always tragic and sad, of course. Okay. Try to run up on some comments, and I'll wrap up the stream pretty soon tonight. A little bit after 9 already, so I don't feel like I'm ending too quickly. Daniel says, hey guys, did I miss something? Disc giveaway. The It goes to, gosh dang, now I forgot his name. Tim Johnson. I keep thinking Joe something. Tim Johnson. And the Rolo to Real Squirrel. Shout out to the winners. Dice says every month is dicey when I'm around. Dude says I just gotta get that said hi button out of the way. Oh man. Doc says, oh wait, did I miss? Oh, Doc says I still haven't read one of Pratchett's books just because I always want something of his left to read. So you've read all but one? Is that what you're saying? You're keeping one just so that you still have it to read? That's a very interesting. I don't think that's necessarily a bad perspective. Kind of interesting, and I don't want to say weird, but I get it. I have a lot of books I haven't finished, unfortunately. Daniel says, hey, Ed Sheeran. Appreciate you being here. Another Ed Sheeran comment, of course, from Daniel. Just over and over coming at me. Let's see. Okay, I can't read all of that. Doc says, yep, Brad, as long as you never think you're bigger than cheeses. Okay, whatever. Let's see. Mr. Mann says, middle school MVP is crazy. Heck yeah, it is. Dice says, why are we so focused on books? Is future Mrs. Birdietime in the vicinity? She is not right now. We had a great Valentine's Day together yesterday. We made dinner and dessert together, some dark chocolate lava cakes that were extraordinarily good, with some delicious vanilla ice cream. And I got her a Pride and Prejudice puzzle, and we did the puzzle while we watched Pride and Prejudice, and I'll be the first to admit it, I had a great time watching it. It's very snappy dialogue, and it's very quick-witted and sarcastic. So I very much really appreciated the like undertones of slights and insults, and the characters that are totally oblivious to them being mocked to their face and insulted because they don't quite catch the exactness of the words, the verbiage that's being used, against them. It's just very, very clever and enjoyable. So very much had a good time with that. And that was the full BBC miniseries that we watched. So that was really nice. Very, very relaxing day, which is nice with a lot of wedding planning coming up to just fully take a day and just sit and enjoy was really great. I hope all of you guys had a great Valentine's Day and happy Valentine's Day to all of you. I can't believe I haven't said that and I didn't title the stream. I was so focused on the disc giveaway that I didn't at least say happy Valentine's Day in the stream title to all of you guys. But she's not here, but I will take future Mrs. Birdie Time themed questions if they arise. Okay. Doc says, I did enjoy the Young Jedi series. I did like that as well. Dice says, Star Wars better than Star Trek. I think I agree. That's not fair to Star Trek because I haven't seen or read, but I feel like I agree to that. Dude just says, I think I've shifted all my nerdiness into disc golf at this point. I do want to hear what your favorite high school class was, though, Brad. Favorite high school class? That's a tough question. My favorite of all time class was actually my apologetics class. I very much fell in love with apologetics, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a term within Christianity that essentially means defending your faith, or it doesn't have anything to do with making an apology. It's more of an argument or a defense or good reason. So I very much appreciated that class, and it was a very small class, which led to a lot of discussion and ability to watch debates and kind of pick out good and bad debate tactics from both sides, and being able to critique and say, I don't feel like he presented that argument very well, or he didn't communicate that idea very well, or wow, it's so clear exactly what he was saying there, and that was so well communicated. And maybe I think he's right, maybe I think he's wrong, but what a good demonstration. So very much enjoyed that. Otherwise, I always liked English class, even when we shifted into speech class. I kind of was nervous at first, but began to kind of more embrace the weekly writing and then writing and performing a speech. And I think it's done a lot to kind of get me to here, where I'm able to speak on camera. And like I taught my small group a week ago on Sunday at church, and it wasn't that I was not nervous, but being able to kind of frame, getting up in front of a group and presenting something or teaching or walking through something. So English class was always nice, especially literature. And then, speech class was kind of wrapped up into it. So I would say those were at the top for me. What about you, Dujit? What's your favorite high school class so far? Zach says, you have an MD5. I don't think so. I don't think I have an MD5. Daniel says, you're our favorite nerd. I already feel dumb on the live stream. I'm not a nerd at all. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's really about being passionate and interested about something. You can call that being nerdy. Like, you can, in a sense, in some way, you can be like really nerdy about football if you're very interested, if you get into fantasy, if you follow your teams. Like, we don't necessarily conceive of that as being nerdy, but in reality, you're memorizing players and what team they're on and how good they are and what their like stats are, and whether you take them on your team or trade them. Like, that's kind of being nerdy about something. It just happens to be a sport. So I feel like that's a lot of us with disc golf, but I feel like that's just being passionate about something. Man, I'm behind on the chat. Okay. Everyone should have a hobby that they're super into. I'm with you, Dujit. For goals, progress, and community that comes with it, that's wise beyond your years. I'm with that. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm so far behind in the chat. All right. Skip. Sorry, guys. I love you, but I can't read every comment. When George Lucas wrote Star Wars, there was a supernova that lit up the sky. It was like foreshadowing his masterpiece. Doc says, I was surprised Macbeth broke kayfabe and admitted the rivalry was kind of made up. Interesting. Maybe the buzz saw only disc shouldn't be clear because the color choice is usually so fun. Stig would be sweet. It's such a good disc. Steph says, sorry, this is a long one in advance. I entered the 2025 season at 873 rated. As of now, I'm 921. I qualified for AM Worlds this year in Buffalo, New York. I know you played AM Worlds last year. Any advice going into an A-tier tournament of that caliber? Things that might be helpful during the process. Yes. I don't just say this, but like practice a lot. Get your putt dialed as best as you can. get your stock standard upshots practiced, 200-foot upshot, 300-foot shot. Just do whatever you can to shape your game to a point where it can be ready to jump into a new course. So make sure you have your accuracy up, your upshots consistent. But putting, I think, is the main thing. And then if you at all can, get there early, practice the courses, throw multiple tee shots on every tee shot so that you have a bit of a sense of what does it feel like to throw a good shot on this hole and where do I think I want to land. Where I thought I wanted to land, I landed there, and oh, it turns out it's great, or oh, it turns out not a good spot to land. All of that gets you comfort and less nerves on the tee because you've been there before, you kind of figured it out, and now you're just trying to execute versus playing it for the first time in tournament thinking, I don't know what this to throw. I don't know where I'm aiming. I don't know where I want to land. So those would be my biggest bits of advice that really worked for me at Harmony Bends this last year at Worlds. And I didn't happen to figure out the dam course so well as I kind of got Harmony Bends and even Joseph Miller, I handled better. It's just the way that worked for me. I wish I had put more time on it and then it hadn't been like 99.5 degrees. Definitely affected my ability to feel comfortable. But whatever you can get ahead of time makes a big, big difference. Putting in particular. Panic says, how do I enter the giveaway? So the way I run giveaways is that I actually have a video. It was running up until yesterday, where if you leave a comment, you're entered into the giveaway live. But I made my giveaway entry list before I started the stream. So you don't enter the giveaway during the stream. But I will be doing more giveaways soon. So keep your eyes peeled for the next time that I leave a disc giveaway video. That's what I meant to say. Up on the channel and leave a comment on that video. So should be one coming fairly soon. But I don't have entries into the giveaway on stream, and I already ran the giveaway tonight. Shout out to Real Squirrel and to Tim Johnson. I swear if I forget this name, Tim Johnson, for winning the discs tonight. Okay. Davis says, howdy, Soup Man. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Mr. Man says, I don't want the giveaway. How can I get some custom discs from the channel? Custom discs cost custom money. Hopefully we'll get some off the ground soonish. Some custom discs would be really great. King Frost Gaming says, I'm that random cool guy from that one video you did. So glad you're here. That was so random and so cool. Appreciate you swinging through. Doc says, Brad, you have to watch Bridgerton. Absolutely not. No. I think you know why I don't want to watch Bridgerton. No, absolutely not. I am sure that if I could filter out 20% of that show, it would be mildly interesting for me, but no, I'm not watching Bridgerton. Dice says, great Valentine's Day. Yeah. Panic says, this guy has dangerously blue eyes like Gary. I don't know who Gary is, but I don't know how dangerous they are. Hopefully not too dangerous. Dice says, Panic, he's cheating with the blue shirt. It really brings out his eyes. You got me. This is all just a ploy. Mr. Man says, I'll pay good money to have Doc's face on one of them. Unfortunately, I don't know what Doc's face looks like yet. But Doc, how about, totally unrelated, how about we get that round in that we've always been talking about? I'll film. Doc says, my favorite high school class was music appreciation. Sometimes not the class, but the teacher. Panic says, I had an English teacher who required us to read 10,000 pages of books and detail the books to her. I brought a 5,000 page book about marijuana, and bless her heart, she passed me. Wow. I mean, I have to say that would probably be a very, very, very boring book. Like interesting at times, but 5,000 pages, I would be bored to death of that. I would want like some type of story arc. You know, I like fantasy stories, and sci-fi, stuff like that. But I guess reading is reading. Daniel says he's trying to make me feel better, even though whenever I don't understand something, I'll consult the doc. Doc says that's what I'm here for. Panic says, nice, thank you. I'm subbed. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. hopefully, like I said, more giveaways coming soon, and you have a good chance of winning a disc then. Not too many people. Oh, Gary at Tour Life, I know who you're talking about. Yes, thank you. I really appreciate you clarifying because I know exactly what you're talking about. And yes, he has very like notable blue eyes. Yes, yes. Shout out Gary from Tour Life hopping on there. If I remember, he's very like mild mannered, but then he like looks at the camera and you're like, dang, yeah, definitely true. Yeah, wow. I mean, I'm kind of honored to be measured up against Gary from Tour Life. He's pretty cool. He's a legend. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that just on my own, just seeing the name Gary. So I'm really glad that you actually clarified that. Thank you. Mr. Man says, face reveal, Doc. We've got you on the spot today. But Doc doesn't have a camera. Maybe Doc says, I do have one photo online. Good luck finding it. And then Brad's no Gary. Wow, thanks, Doc. Right as I was so grateful to you for reminding me of it, you have to you have to break my heart. That's so cruel. Daniel says, if you were to give me a disc as a gift, I'd really like to know which one it would be. Davis says, Doc, we need a prescription to see your face. I think that was pretty funny. Doc says, maybe a Gary, Indiana. So stupid. That's really funny. That was really good. Okay, I'm gonna run to check. Okay, we don't have any more questions in the Q&A. I just tried out the Q&A. I don't feel like it's necessary. I think as much as I do fall behind, swapping between live questions and the Q&A questions is just not a help. It doesn't really add to the channel. So I feel like just running the live questions does work for right now. Maybe if we actually get to a point where it's totally excessive, the comments in the chat, and I cannot, keep up with any semblance of answering questions, maybe I would shift over to that and instead of keeping up with the regular chat. I don't know. But at least for now, I feel like I kind of tested it and see that we don't really need it so much. But at least we kind of tested it out. So that was really good. We ran the giveaway. Shout out once again last time to Real Squirrel and Tim Johnson for winning the IT and the Rolo. Shout out to you guys. If you see this at any point, please leave your comment. I'll leave a comment too to kind of give you that notification. But get on that video, the giveaway video, and leave that comment so that I know you kind of get my response and that we can connect with a direct message so I can send you your disc. So that's the way that I do it is I don't want you sharing your address publicly online. So we'll have a direct conversation and then I'll find out where to send the disc and it'll be on its way. All right. Mr. Man says, Doc, your days are numbered. Daniel says, poor Doc. It was really funny. Doc says, by God himself, as are all men's. It's true. Yes, our days are numbered. Mr. Man says, I was talking about the face reveal. All right. I'll take another minute of comments or questions, but I'm wrapping up the stream. So if you've got anything for me, get it out now. But then I'll wrap things up. I'll be back next week and be on the stream. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I should be back next week. So I will see you guys in a week. Glad that we got the giveaway done for all of you. Hoping for that in the bag video. I want it to be out soon. I have a video I'm working on first before I can turn around and focus on that. And it will take a little bit of time to do a good job. So hopefully coming pretty soon. And then we will get that. Panix's favorite putter. I like the Warden. I putt with the Warden Primes. I have a billion of them. This is just an old one that I have. I have a bunch of old ones on the shelf. And then I have a stack of them that I compete with and practice with over there and in my car and in the garage. Daniel says, guys, I'm going to leak a photo of the document I have. Doc says, Mrs. Birdie getting any more into disc golf? With this week, it was a busy week, and then we had Valentine's Day Saturday, and we just stayed at home and chilled. So, no, we didn't get out on the course, but I have a feeling that in the next couple of weeks, we'll get around it, and it should be really fun. But there's no push from me to, like, really over-focus on, like, trying to get really into disc golf, particularly leading up to the wedding. I would want disc golf to be a stress relief, not an extra stress. So it's definitely something where, I'm very like, I think it's a really slow burn of just occasionally going out to where it's really enjoyable and not this is something I'm not good at yet that can be frustrating. So I think that's kind of my strategy of just keep it as a fun, get outside. Also weather, like the weather has just been kind of crummy. Obviously, Doc, you love it, but it's meh. So some sunshine would go a long way to getting out on the disc golf course. The Doc photo. Davis says, any chance you're coming to Michigan? I will be in Michigan briefly in April. Other than that, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but I will be visiting and kind of seeing some family and friends, and introducing people to the fiance. So that will be happening at some point, and I don't know when else I'll be up in Michigan, but eventually I will be back. I do have a lot of family there and a lot of friends. Let's see. Panic says, you have a wedding coming up. Congrats. Thank you very much. It's in June. We're very excited. Mr. Man says, if we get Doc's face revealed, then Mrs. Birdie face revealed too. We'll see. Maybe eventually. No rush on that either. Maybe one day. Doc says, got to get her into disc golf more, or honeymoon at a disc golf course might not be pleasant, or the honeymoon at a disc golf course might not be pleasant. All right. Daniel says, bye, guys. Have a good live. Appreciate you, Daniel. Redhead says, oh, gosh. Hi. Haven't been able to make it to the stream for so long. Appreciate you hanging out and jumping on. We are wrapping things up, but please drop any comments or questions really quick before I sign off here. But we are wrapping up the stream. Appreciate you swinging by to be here. Doc says, keep Mrs. Birdie a mystery. Mr. Man says, Doc, I agree. The mystery is part of the fun. It's part of the suspense. I mean, in some ways, you don't even know if she's real at all. That's just part of the fun. Doc says, I remember with Tina and Eric Oakley got married and did the tournament in their wedding attire. No. Good for them, but no way. Redhead says, I have youth during your lifetime. It's so sad. Darn it. So I actually even moved the stream back to 7 p.m. because it was my hope. My church doesn't have evening service anymore. We have a lot of stuff on Wednesday, and then we have morning service in small group Sunday morning. But I mean, I've spent years as a youth pastor, so I wanted to avoid that kind of youth group time of Sunday night or the Sunday night service. So I try to shift back to 7, hoping that people can, wrap up things at church and be home during my stream before it's, ending. So unfortunately, yeah, when there's overlap like that, it is unfortunate. I don't love running it so late and cutting people out, especially when it's the same time every week and you have youth group at the same time every week. So hopefully we can do some longer streams. This one happened to go past 9. I've been kind of ending it at 9. So getting a little bit longer helps. You're able to jump in at the end at least. And appreciate you being here. Finished right at 7, but got home late tonight. Okay. So then hopefully, generally, you can join partway through the stream when you feel like it and you don't miss out on too much of things. Because I do tend to go till 9 and sometimes a little bit over. But hey, thanks for hopping on and being here for a few minutes at least tonight. Really appreciate it. Zach says, disc golf with me in Michigan. We'll see what time there is. There may be very, very little of it, but we'll see. We'll see. Panic says, you've got good vibes. Thank you. I think it's the community together. Of course, I'm the one reading everything and responding to stuff, but I would have nothing to talk about if you guys weren't here leaving comments. So thank you for being part of it. It's a great time with you guys, and I appreciate what we've built, this disc golf community that we have. And quick shout out to our Discord. I'm not super familiar with Discord in general because I'm elderly, but I use the Dugit made us a birdietime Discord, and I love seeing pictures of people's discs that they just got and questions and comments on there. I hope we can lean a little more into forum review where people ask for advice and get some tips. But join the Discord if you feel like having more interaction and conversation kind of throughout the week, because that's a really great opportunity for it. So shout out to our Discord made by Dujit. Doc says most of the bets are that she isn't, and those were urinals. And my fingers magically got more slender all of a sudden. I mean, I guess with AI, right? Davis says, Yomidi, where are you at? Up there in Michigan somewhere. Logan says, what's up? Been working crazy, haven't been able to join the live streams lately. Sorry you're working like crazy, but glad you were able to hop on for a few minutes. I am wrapping things up right now, but you know we're glad to have you here for a bit. Mr. Man says, we don't care if she's real or not, Brad. Me and Doc know the camera lady is real. She is real. It is funny how quickly Doc, I believe, was the first comment. The very, very first was Doc. And he was like, ooh, who's the mystery voice behind the camera? It was very funny. Israel Wallace says, who do you have filming you now? In Charlotte, I don't have a dedicated filmer. I really just set up for myself, maybe hand my phone to my brother or a buddy. But when I'm kind of out of town or in some certain tournaments, I do have sometimes my fiance will film for me, which is really fun and cool. And she's now channel famous for, much to Doc's chagrin, saying nice after my disc is done flying and I get my birdie. Then she says nice instead of during, which is what Doc prefers, hoping to nice my throw. Shameful. Doc says, how do I keep getting involved in your insane antics? Oh, he said that to Mr. Man. Yeah, you guys are fit for each other. Sarah Coward says, hi, I've been silent, but I've been here. Appreciate you hanging out this whole time. I'll be wrapping things up in just a minute here. Probably right at 9:30. Redhead Rider says, where can I join? Yes, let me get that Discord up. Unless Dujit's here to drop it, I will pull up that. I really wish that I had just copied it so I could just drop the Discord link, but I should grab it really quick here. As long as my Discord opens up. Redhead says, just lost my favorite disc in a pond the other day. That always stinks, man. That always sucks. That always sucks. I've lost a few in water, for sure, and it's always a bummer. Okay, let's see. Invite to server. Are we working? Okay. This link here should work for you guys to hop on to the Discord. Doc says, I can't do it because I'm not a mod. Of course, of course. David says, what's the Discord? All right, so I dropped the Discord in, and all of you are welcome to the Discord. There's not too many of us, but of course, the more of us that hop on, the more conversation we can have. And Duja did a really good job of building out a lot of channels, some of them extraordinarily practical and some of them more silly and fun. And we even have a soup channel. Is it? Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. All right. Panic says, I'm really bad, so I only throw over ponds when they are frozen. That's a legitimate strategy. I like that. Docs has never lost a dragon in water. They float. You can still lose them if they float out in the middle or into the ocean. Just because they float. Davis says, can't click on it. Dang. Can you copy and paste it? I was struggling to do that earlier. It is linked on my channel. So if you navigate to my, well, gosh, I think it's linked on my channel. I said that with such confidence, and now I'm not sure. Let's see. Well, that's not working. I think it's linked on the channel, but I will double check and make sure that the Discord is linked on the channel. So you should be able to navigate to the Birdietime like YouTube home screen place thing. And I should have a link to like my Instagram and TikTok and then to the Discord so you can hop on from there. So if this link doesn't work, I will drop that, make sure that's updated on the channel. Appreciate all of you guys. Really do. It's been really great. As I really wrap things up, Mr. Man says I don't have Discord. Might have to get one. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's not to the level of like a social media where you need like to build out your profile. You really just have to pick a username and then you can jump into a server that you're invited to. So it is like a lower entry, bar of entry to get in. Okay. Came for the soup, stay for the shoe. All right. Sarah says, Doc, did you ever watch the video on Brad's channel about me throwing over the pond? Yes, it was where he claimed your awesome shot was his. No, Silas threw across on Scrapyard 8. Threw across. Panic says, see you on the next one. Enjoyed it. Thank you so much for hopping on and joining. And Red and Davis, Doc, everybody that hung out for a while or just for a few minutes at the end. Appreciate you all being here. Love you all. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, everybody. Ugh.